As far as I see it, the gaming industry has been hitting a creative plateau recently. Especially looking at the double and AAA space. But thankfully, that couldn't be further from the truth when we're talking indie games. In the last 5 years alone, we've had exceptional hallmarks with Amnesia the Bunker, Mouthwashing, Signalis, Inscription, and Insound Mind, just to name a few of my personal highlights. In an ever increasingly competitive horror market, it's becoming difficult to stand out in the crowd. Unless you're sorry we're closed.
The more I seem to change, the less I see myself. The more I share the blame.
Sorry We're Closed is a psychological horror game featuring classic camera angles a la the OG Silent Hill or RE games, and turning into a first-person game whenever you aim a gun. It takes place in a world filled with angels and demons, possesses an incredibly deep and rich narrative with many perspectives, plot points, character arcs, and 4 unique endings. Developed by a 2-person team named A La Mode Games during the pandemic, this is an incredibly ambitious project that explores themes of sexuality, obsession, toxic relationships, and the many, incredibly complex facets of love. In this video, we'll deconstruct Sorry We're Closed in its entirety, exploring every level, interaction, and motif, while analyzing its artistry and gameplay. So buckle up, grab a snack, and prepare for heartbreak. This is why Sorry We're Closed is a masterpiece. Hey y'all, welcome to one of the most ambitious videos I've ever made. In order to make this video more worthwhile experience, we're going to be following my very first playthrough, with alternate paths or moments being explained when they make the most sense. This game is very complex, there's a lot of moving parts, and there's plenty of characters, all with their unique motivations, which we'll take a look at one step at a time. So without further ado, clicking a new game shows you Day 0. Effectively, the game is divided into 5 parts. Day 0, or the prologue, comes first, followed by days 1, 2, and 3, and finally Day 4, or epilogue, with most of your choices happening in those core 3 main days. Each day, apart from the first, features their own unique dungeon or puzzles you can complete, which we'll talk about once we get there.
Yeah, I like to solve the puzzle.
All right, go ahead. That's it, yeah.
We start with 2 characters, Epiphany, Oxblood, and Canary Rouge, having an argument, with one side talking about how the other's life is constantly busy, chaotic, and that they wouldn't want those feelings to spill into their love life. Epiphany then comments that she's dating herself, as Canary is very compliant to everything Epiphany says. Show me your willingness to live. Show me your fiery side. These sentences really stick out to me, especially when replaying the game, because this is a game about love, about many shapes, facets, possibilities, and intricacies of what makes love, well, love. Our inherent desire to want our partner to be the best version of what we imagine them to be is a common one, and more often than not, it's nothing more than basic human nature. In Sorry We're Closed, however, there will be a character that personifies this feeling, the feeling of wanting to be loved, a violent, greedful need to be accepted, loved, and admired, but not by earning said things, but instead taking them by force. We transition to a quaint convenience store, where a man by the name of Daryl calls our attention. He tells us, pay attention, that he's retelling the most painful story of his life. Oakley, his boyfriend, turned down his proposal. Again. He then asks you if there's a way to convince them, and the camera turns to reveal Michelle, our main character.
Hi.
I'm a huge sucker for well-written badass final girl type characters, and Michelle is a great, intricate but simple protagonist that we can identify ourselves with. You will mold who Michelle is over the course of your playthrough, and she can end up becoming down-to-earth, friendly, and helpful, or an egotistical maniac. Your choice. Daryl then asks you if you can imagine being alone like that. Just you and the inner void. If you respond that you can in fact imagine that, Daryl isn't surprised, and tells you that he knows people who do wild shit to get with Michelle. Haha, remember this. Yikes. Daryl then tells you that opportunities show up when you least expect them. Doesn't matter if you're ready for them or not. When love wants to come in, it will find a way. We go out of the convenience store and into the town where most of the game takes place. In this area we'll talk to characters each day and are able to complete side tasks for certain people. Or just get a little bit more lore about the world of Sorry We're Closed through Marty. Marty is cool by the way, we'll get to him later. Going up to the character across the store, you find Oakley and speak to him. He's worried about what you're doing out so late, saying that these streets aren't safe and that people have been snatched up recently, to which you respond, "Fuck around and find out." God, have I mentioned how much Michelle is a badass yet? You then talk about Daryl. He does mention that while Oakley feels protected and loved by Daryl, he still needs to work on himself. Oakley is one of the many characters in Sorry We're Closed, and he always offers a very grounded and level-headed take on whatever zaniness is happening between him and Daryl, with Oakley even being center stage in a few key decisions you'll have to make later. He's the owner of a local popular diner and Daryl's longtime partner, if you haven't figured that out already. Then Oakley says he saw our horoscope. Oh, you're one of those, eh? But he does mention that something will happen. A storm is brewing. And where the eye? Leaving that dialogue, you find a phone booth, which allows you to save your game, Yakuza style. Right next to the booth is Lucy, who I really want to talk about, but holy crap, let's leave her for later, okay? Trust me, she's crazy. Lucy doesn't talk much, with her responding with ellipses to everything you say. Before heading home, you can meet Marty, that one cool character I mentioned before. He tells you he sold a lot today, so much that he feels good closing shop early. He mentions he's meeting someone and not to rat him out. Marty works at the local record store and he's a huge conspiracy theorist. Like, seriously. There's so much wild stuff that happens in this game, and Marty kind of pieces it all together without being directly involved in anything. It's honestly kind of hilarious. He then says something quite peculiar. All these weird disappearances and happenings have something to do with demons. Huh. And he tells you that he's meeting the one who's trading demonic artifacts with him online. Doesn't sound that safe, but we'll roll with it. Funnily enough, this mysterious trader will be in town for a few days, and they may even have a cure for our cursed love life. The final character you can find in the town prologue is a girl named Violet, who owns a little bakery shop in the corner of the street, and her specialty? Pain au chocolat! Interacting with the closed stores reveals a dress store owned by a girl named Stacy. And that's about it for the beginning section. Let's head home. Before that though, I would recommend making a save right here and not overwriting it ever, as it comes in useful if you're hunting down different endings or missing a collectible somewhere. But seriously, look how stylish this all looks. I will be praising both Tom and CB's work throughout the game, but the art direction honestly floors me to this day.
Silent Hill Sexual Tension Edition.
If you're paying attention and then have this video on your second monitor, you'll notice that the operator of this phone booth is a faceless entity. Remember this. Alright, now we're actually done with the town prologue. Time to head home. Oh, hello there. You find Daryl talking to a girl next to the complex stairs. Talking to them, you find them in the middle of an argument. Apparently this girl, Clarissa, works for Daryl, at his bar specifically, and Clarissa messed up and is getting kicked out. Clarissa begs to be rehired, that she loves working there and that the nightlife vibes are what she lives for. Daryl eventually simmers down and acknowledges that she's a valued employee and that she brings the big bucks, but to not show up tonight. That will be her punishment for messing up. Clarissa was thinking of showing her new dance routine tonight, but yeah, what Daryl said, just do it next time the bar opens, you'll be fine. Besides, Michelle is the best dancer. These two are going to keep arguing, so we go to our apartment and meet one of my favorite characters of the entire game. This is Robin. Firstly, can I just say her character art makes me blush, but I don't know why? Robin then comments on the fact that Daryl and Clarissa are yelling at each other at this hour, to which Michelle responds, bitch, it's 6 PM. And Robin's like, nightlife is for suckers. I decided that 2 minutes ago. What about your social life, Michelle? To which we say, nah. Too busy with conspiracy theories about demons to make any progress socially. And here we find out that Michelle is trying to get over her ex. 3 years ago, Michelle was romantically involved with a woman that's an actress. The details of their fall-off are kept semi-ambiguous, but we can piece together that there's unresolved matters between them. And her ex is none other than Epiphany Oxblood. Rather, her ex plays the character in the show. You get what I mean. Who is also going through a breakup in the show, giving room to a very interesting parallel narrative device that will accompany us throughout their journey. Going forward, you can interact with the other apartment doors to find out small details about their tenants, and entering your apartment, Michelle reminisces about her ex. 3 years is a long time, but somehow, It feels very short. Exploring Michelle's room, you have plenty of optional interactions to find out more about her character. She's messy, a bit rebellious and carefree, but under the harsh exterior that Michelle portrays hides a playful, almost endearing girl that never had the opportunity to fully accept herself. In the corner, you find dirty dishes, which you can pick up for later. A magazine on the table talks about Fish Fight, Michelle's favorite band, who is also breaking up. I hate breakups. They ruin everything. If you go in the bathroom, you can interact with the sink, and this will heal you fully. Every dungeon in the game has one of these magical healing sinks, and they're the only unlimited healing the game ever gives you, with the only other healing option being finding water bottles throughout the levels that effectively act as healing potions. Other neat interesting details are the broken mirror in her room, indicating that a fight occurred, and the portrait of Michelle and her ex, signifying that, indeed, Michelle hasn't moved on. Taking the dishes, you can place them in the kitchen sink, allowing you to feel slightly less gross about your chaotic room. Tonight, our dreams show us our new path. We hear a thud, and when we open our eyes, our door is wide open. We definitely did not leave our door open. There's absolutely no way we'd fall asleep with it like that, so this is a dream, right? We're not that stupid. What if it's actually real? What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? We try to pretend we're asleep, but the creature approaches and speaks, offering us an opportunity. No matter our options, the creature will start flirting with you, saying that love is cruel, but that with them, you won't ever feel bad ever again. Obviously, this is insanity, so you completely refuse, which makes the creature approach you and say they're disappointed. Of all people, they thought you would understand. But it's fine, you just need perspective, a new way of seeing the world. We wake up and that wasn't on my forehead before. You leave the room to find Daryl blocking your way. If you try to get past him, he tells you that he's contemplating and for you to back off and go another way. This is a really cheeky way of blocking the player from going where the game doesn't want you to go, and it adds to the personality of this game quite a bit. With no other way, you walk back to find the stairs leading to the roof now lead somewhere else entirely. This all feels a little surreal, but you decide to walk in anyways, and you fall into a palace of some kind. Still believing this is a dream. Near where you landed, you can spot various items of Michelle's, and remember this steady. It will be important later. Various paintings are on display with beautiful art. I wonder who that is. You walk to the next room to find blood on the floor. A pile of letters, all from the same sender, with writing you can't understand. And is that a bird?
Hello guys. Today we have a list of top 5 bird. Número 5, bird creepy.
This rug is a bit damp. Well, gee, I wonder if it's because of, I don't know, the blood? Next to the bird is a red phone. If you talk to the operator and tell her you'd like to wake up, she says there's no waking up from this. Speaking with the bird, you find its name is Dream Eater. He welcomes you, tells you that you will be very important, as you are about to go on a journey that will cause ripples beyond your current understanding. He tells you that this is his domain, guarded from the outside, a realm located somewhere between our world and the cosmic beyond. Visitors don't come often, especially visitors like Michelle. He explains his duty is to converse through dreams. It is how he makes contact, evaluates, and judges people. He was the one that brought us here, through our dreams, which prompts you to ask if you are dreaming or not, and he responds, not quite. Man, this is confusing. He tells you that the human mind can propel itself to other planes if they are stressed enough. And given that we were visited by that thing earlier, it was the perfect opportunity for the Dream Eater to bring you to his home. Yes, his home. Totally not something else. Yep, just a random PS1 Death Right birth from Elden Ring's home. Yep. He asks you what you will choose when the time comes. Love, personal gain, or destruction. And the game makes you pick one. At this moment, I haven't been able to figure out if this has any gameplay or narrative implications. Dream Eater will give you different answers depending on your choice, but each ends up hinting at one of the endings, leading me to believe that this is just a sneaky way of foreshadowing later choices you'll have to make. I was feeling cheeky, so I picked destruction. You're part of a world that will come after you if you make the wrong choices now. Do not be surprised when we hear a knock at the door if we piss off the wrong person.
Knock knock, who's there? Autism.
Michelle, however, remains headstrong and holds her ground, saying that if she believes what she's doing is right, then nothing else matters. Especially when it comes to love. Dream Eater didn't like this response too much. hitting a bit close to home, and invites you to make yourself comfortable one last time before we move on. Kind of a bizarre request, but okay. You sit and take a look around the room to see a painting of what looks like a centaur. As you get up, Dream Eater says that he has learned a lot about you and invites you to follow him to the library. Here, you can find your very first relic of the game that also looks like a centaur with wings. Relics in this game are collectibles you can find in each level that can then be sold to a vendor you unlock later. That's their only purpose, so make sure to grab all of them. You'll need the Yauzas later. This particular relic is called Angel of Hope. If you know, you know. The library is filled with dried blood, chaotic disorganized books, papers and art pieces. Like many thoughts are invading this room all at once and are all fighting for control. Spread throughout the library are books you can read that offer really cool and unique perspectives of this world. There's consanguinity, that roughly means two or more descendants of the same ancestor, usually referring to angels or demons, as is the case here. This book, however, isn't about the word itself and more about what it represents to this particular character, that after the Great Divide, many were forgotten, apart from a select few, with the ones left behind now yearning to reunite with those they once lost. It goes on to say that it is not meant to be, that even though light helps you see in the dark only engulfs you more and more. Everything starts great, only to soon fall apart. A very classical example of many relationships out there. You can interact with the main painting, where Dream Eater explains that he got it during the Great Divide. You ask what that means. A frightening fall that affected every being. But don't worry, Michelle, it's cool. Everything is cool. Across the way from the painting, you can find a book belonging to a person called Andrea Lee. Reading one of the entries, you find that Dream Eater was spying on this girl's dreams, trying to find a specific connection, mentioning a newsstand, a small shop with a red telephone box. Where have we seen this location? Right next to the spy book, you find a very beautiful and intricate book, and Dream Eater stops you before you can read it, asking you to not look at it. He also shows you a collection of a particular creature, the same winged centaur we've been seeing. It's clear Dream Eater sees something in this creature, but it's difficult to say if it's love, obsession, or a mix of both. You find another spy book belonging to Henry Brown. This one talks about another demon presence and how it got leveraged to peek into this person's consciousness, how close they're getting, that it may be time to chow down. You try to go a bit further down when, sorry, I haven't tidied that corner. What is that? Okay, let's just go somewhere else then. Yikes. I'm gonna go touch this book. I'ma touch it. Man, fine, okay, jeez, God. I spoke to him, which made him move to another corner, and his design is, yeah. So I followed him around the library as he keeps tidying up, and he allows you to find a new book about common afflictions for those of the demonic persuasion, which, what a title. Finding a chapter on heart sickness, you read about how some demons are reporting an everlasting chest pain, especially when they become isolated, lonely, and disconnected from those they love. Symptoms include yearning for love and flesh being burned from the inside. You then find Dream Eater in one of the corners, losing his mind over how disorganized his library is, and asks you to follow him once more. You ask him if you're gonna get to go home soon, and he says that our final stop is just along the hall. Dream Eater then attacks you, forcing you to run through this library maze. He says that we have too much opportunity, we're too volatile and must perish. And this is harder than it looks. And if you manage to run all the way to the end without dying, you end up collapsing in the next room, with a gentle voice wondering why you'd be in this place to begin with. Now leaving their post is risky, but Robin was right about us, about Michelle. We're going to be doing some very important things, very soon. This mysterious voice then saves us from the Dream Eater's palace. Alternatively, you can actually get caught by the Dream Eater, but just as he's about to uninstall your life, the very same entity intervenes, this time shooting warning arrows between you and the Eater. Fate will simply not allow Michelle to die this early, and you're brought back to safety. The first official day begins, and we transition back to the convenience store, where Michelle is telling Lucy about her quote-unquote dream. Lucy is quiet, however, which prompts Michelle to awkwardly try to change the topic, asking where Robin is. But since Lucy went non-verbal, we decide to close shop and go back into town. Now is a great time to give you a quick overview of how we actually go for the endings, as our choices starting in day 1 will carry consequences. Each of the 4 endings is tied to a specific character. We have the Robin ending, Clarissa ending, and 2 more endings that belong to characters we haven't met yet. All these characters will request thanks from you, ask you for favors, or otherwise require you to go out of your way to please them. I'll give you context as to what big choices there are each day and their consequences. Usually going for one ending will lock you out of the others, and even if you mess up extremely bad, you can always get the default ending, that being Robin. In town, you can see these ethereal beings around people, but you can't actually interact with them. Talking to the postman, he complains that this route is scary, like there's someone right behind them. You enter the diner to find a bunch of people gathered around the TV. As you approach, you see a new episode of Dying Paddles. Here we see Epiphany leave Canary in a fit of rage. As the scene continues, Oakley cuts the episode short and apologizes. It must be hard to see such a popular show with your ex in it. We comment about each other's aura, saying that we're both feeling stress. In Oakley's case, Daryl's delivery is late, so he's struggling to feed customers at his diner. He complains that Daryl has a new job for someone important who is supposed to be a great supplier, but it's clearly taking too much of Daryl's time and affecting both his relationship and his bar. We mentioned that we spoke to him yesterday, and also mentioned the declined proposal, which Oakley justifies that Daryl isn't there yet. He needs some polishing. He then asks you to get Daryl. This is your very first choice that can impact your endings. If you choose to ignore Oakley's request, you make progress on the Clarissa ending, and helping Oakley makes you progress in another unknown ending. For now, you can explore the diner and talk to a couple of people enjoying their meal, including a Dying Paddles fan who is obsessed with your ex, of course, delivery girl that says a bunch of weird stuff, and another ethereal being. Going outside, you spot a commotion. A beaten man lies on the ground with Clarissa yelling at Daryl. Apparently the guy laying on the floor stole something from Daryl's bar. It was a minuscule amount that didn't really warrant a beatdown, but here we are.
I've fallen!
Clarissa and Daryl get heated, disagreeing with the methods used. Clarissa says she'll run the bar better than Daryl, and Daryl asks Cerberus. Holy shit, this is hilarious. These 3 dweebs are Cerberus. I can't with this game. They take the beaten man away to the kitchen. Clarissa also bounces. Ask Daryl what's this about a kitchen, and he tells you it's none of your business and asks you to Christian Bale. Here you can explore some more dialogue options, including telling him about the Dream Eater Palace dream, which he makes fun of you for, how his bar is closed because of his second job, and, optionally, tell him about Oakley and about the late delivery. He becomes distraught at his mess up and says he's going to fix it now. Before he leaves, he calls you Dead Girl, which... okay, Team Johnny Bravo. You can find Clarissa near your apartment where she complains about Daryl, how people love her and that he doesn't understand why she's so important. She then says our boss isn't any better, and to imagine we running the show. My boss? Wonder who that is referring to. Let's go to Culture Shock. Each day you can come here to talk to Marty, who of course is the local conspiracy theorist in town, and he has an admirer in store and even has a figure of Wave Machine. What's Wave Machine? Well, it was a game jam game made by Allo Mode where you can play Speedy Max saving animals from weird creatures, and you can also go brrrr. Also, animals speak like this.
I am a frog. They are a frog. We are all frogs. Ribbit, ribbit. You are a frog. A little frog. A frog far from home. A frog not alone. Ribbit. Ribbit. Frogs have skills, skills to have thrills, skills to delight you. Ribbit. Frogs have moves, moves you can use, moves to groove. Ribbit, ribbit. To be a frog is to be exceptional in every way, on every day. Ribbit.
This game taught me we're all frogs. Anyways, back at Culture Shock, you can find plenty of weird records and a replica of a kaiju from Love and Fighting. Love and Fighting is a game jam game made Allo Mode where you play a speedy car in a town being attacked by fucking Godzilla himself and have to take people around town. You also turn into a literal mech and spec crazy taxi.
I'm a taxi.
Man, what just happened? That was weird. Huh. Anyways, let's talk to Marty. As we are about to ask for Robin, there they are. And they say something is wrong. What happened to my head? They don't like Lucy one bit. They also ask about our dream, in which we explain the happenings, and Marty says it sounds like something straight out of his Demonology 101 course. Oh, he's one of those, huh? Robin seems to know more or less what's happening, and right after you mention that you'd get your head checked, Robin stops you and says that they'll take you to someone who can help, and for you to lay low. They gotta do something real quick in the Metro Underground. Marty wants to tag along, but apparently it's too dangerous, so Robin leaves. I, of course, immediately follow them outside and into the first dungeon of Sorry We're Closed, the Underground Metro. As we get our bearings, we find that the metro is looking a tad weird. The vibes are just off. Then we have a health bar now. Uh-oh. Going forward, you see two people stuck in place. Robin is also nearby. Let's talk to them. They say we're not meant to be here, and Robin is looking more, hey there. Handy investigation outfit, you say. Sure, okay. They mention we've been cursed, and that it's bad. They're actively figuring out what's happening, and it seems Daryl is connected somehow. You ask if the creature in your room was Daryl, and no, that's not it. The mark in your forehead was left by a powerful demon. But we have Robin, who is extremely knowledgeable on these things somehow. And we acquire the main mechanic of the game, the third eye. This is a toggleable action that allows you to see into the opposite reality to the one you're in. If you're in the demon realm, you can see into the human world, and vice versa. It also comes in handy in combat, as it allows you to hit enemy weak points that are placed between realities. Using the eye near an enemy also stuns it briefly, perfect for quick kills or otherwise getting out of a tight spot. From a narrative standpoint, it allows you to look into other people's memories, which is why there are two people who are quote-unquote frozen in time. Let's see what happened here. We find this memory belongs to a girl named Jenny, who is currently assaulting a man for his money. He begs not to be hurt, and for her to take whatever she wants, but Jenny strikes the man down, saying she doesn't need love. Who needs love when you have money? And leaves to find more. Jenny seems to have the same curse we do, so she's the best lead we currently have. What we saw was an echo of the past, so chances are she's further ahead. We now get the axe, which is great to destroy barricades, does decent damage, and can even hit weak points like guns do. This is where you first go between fixed camera angles and the FPS POV when aiming, which can take a little getting used to since you can't move while aiming. In a Reddit thread, Tom from Alamode mentioned that we knew we wanted fixed camera angles, but thought as the environments wouldn't be pre-rendered like the old RE games, we should let people look at them from other angles. We also wanted people to be able to have a good view of the characters and enemies, so we sought to let people look around in first person at any time as well. These two interchangeable perspectives were integral to the overall mechanical design of the game, giving it not only its own identity, but also enabling them to double down on this world's aesthetics, giving enemies, environments, and bosses their own flair that's only seen if you're in FPS view. Soon after, in the nearby office, you come across another type of collectible, these being the critters, usually sporting a different color depending on which level you're in. They don't give you money or upgrades, but are a nice little addendum for those who want to complete everything. This section also subtly teaches you to look for breakable barricades, as they will be everywhere going forward. A neat little detail about your third eye is also the fact that you can see Robin's human/demon form, depending if you have it active or not. And this works for every single character that lives a double life, which is really cool. We break the barricade blocking our main path and keep moving forward, Robin telling us they'll try to clear the path for us, but warns us as there will be unsavory creatures ahead. A key detail about the third eye mechanic is when you're using it in combat, you won't be able to do any damage to enemies if they're not inside your radius, and if you don't hit their heart. You can still shoot enemies with your third eye closed at a distance with the damage penalty, so this is a careful balance that you have to maintain. This level also introduces obstacles that can be bypassed by walking through them with your third eye opened, like those spiky bushes. Going under a broken gate, you find a metro platform, and progressing through, you have a couple of enemies and a little hidden artifact inside a breakable crate. Almost immediately, you come across a giant eyeball, with the game prompting you to lower your weapon. It says it won't let us pass through here, and when you ask why it's doing this, the response is a mix of confirming you'll be in great pain soon, as well as highlighting the futility of your fate, and you might as well accept the curse already. What? The particulars of you, Michelle, being special is escaping this eyesore, as they can't see why Michelle could ever be special, but still adamant they won't let us through. We'll come back to it later. Entering a nearby bathroom, you find a peculiar figure in one of the stalls. This creature asks you for something old, something cold, and something dehydrated. This shadowy figure will show up twice more over the course of the game, and if you give it the items it needs, it will give you money in return. Giving the wrong item, however, will cause it to hurt you and you lose the item. So make sure you pay attention to what the shadowy figure is requesting. You go inside management to find Robin once more, and they have a surprise for you. This is Hellhound, Robin's trusty pistol that shoots the heart of your enemies to pieces. The following section is really similar to the Evil Within shooting galleries, only without the insane points showering your screen. Going back to the eyesore, you can now shoot it away with your gun and progress through the metro tunnels. Don't mind that guy, he's chilling. There's a bunch of rooms you'll need to explore here, with the ultimate goal being to get into the computer system. For that, we'll need an ID and a peripheral of some kind to actually use the computer. Going back to Chill McDude, you can open the safe and shoot its hearts away. Oh, you wanted to use your third eye? Psych! These enemies are called cleavers. Hitting their hearts stuns them momentarily, but you will get a stronger weapon later that will kill anything you desire. But for now, wasting ammo on them isn't viable, as you'll need those bullets for later. Right after the Cleaver Boy, you can find a room with a hanging ID card, in which you have to open your eye to make it accessible to you. In the room after, you will find the other piece of the puzzle inside a supply cabinet. In a very rare L for this game, no, you cannot break the lock with your axe, instead having to run around the level to find something to open it with. Pick up the pickled cucumber in this room for later, and enjoy the very first drink in the sink. Refreshing! In the same room you can find another critter, and most importantly, a screwdriver. Before going back to the supply closet, you can go through these bushes to find an ancient Halo artifact. One of the highest cost artifacts you can get in the entire game. With the screwdriver in hand, you unlock the closet, grab the keyboard, and go back to the security room. With the power restored to the trains, we can now go back and quite literally ride the metro out of here. You meet back up with Robin, who tells you to meet them aboard the train. They unfortunately didn't find what they were looking for. So you hop in, grab the nearby artifact, and get ready. With the train in motion, you make your way to the conductor's office, hacking your way through the rat enemies, and after a few fights you make it to the end to find another echo from our girl Jenny, featuring a very familiar figure. Jenny gives the creature money. She's trying to buy her way out of this curse, but obviously this won't work. Money isn't a good substitute for love. The creature shows their human form, asking Jenny to look at them. But Jenny is refusing to do it, which prompts the creature to force Jenny into looking at them, finally appreciating what they could have had. We meet with Robin and they mention Benedict, who lives in the abandoned church, and it's a situationship of 500 years? I'm pretty sure situationship isn't an apt description for that long of a relationship. Robin's partner seems to be knowledgeable about these curses and apparently really good at calculating, so they're our next stop after we escape the train. This is where the Heartbreaker is introduced, a completely OP weapon that is capable of one-shotting even the meanest demons. To use it, however, you'll have to charge this Heartbreak bar, allowing you to shoot it once when full. Hitting targets in their hearts using your eye will give you a lot more energy than just damaging enemies normally, as well as chaining hits together in a quick succession. Once charged, you can push the magical control button and let it rip. This weapon is the only thing that can kill the previously seen cleaver enemy. We move ahead to the next section of the train and we find another echo from Jenny. Jenny is now beginning to physically manifest her true nature, a rat, hoarding everything and making shady deals. Deals that are clearly not up to standards of our nightly visitor. Robin wonders what happened to Jenny afterwards and tells us that they're going to do everything to help us. There's one lingering question. The echoes we're seeing from Jenny are from her POV, which means she might still be around. Robin tells us to go back when... Holy shit, just got turned to 11. Robin is swallowed by Rat Jenny and it's time for us to rock this bad girl down. Effectively the first boss of the game, Jenny is permanently chasing your train carriage and you have to shoot her down before she gets to you first. Essentially dodging attacks while charging your Heartbreaker as much as possible. The same process for every boss in the game. Jenny has 3 main hearts you'll need to shoot with your Heartbreaker, with each shot giving you much needed breathing room. This fight is quite easy though, and you can even do it entirely with only the axe. After the fight is over, we're brought back to the original train platform, with Jenny twitching in pain in the distance. We lost Robin, and we haven't even begun to process what happened. Right now, we see the door to Michelle's room, and we go in. We find ourselves in a completely new place, and we find the creature that visited us calling. We approach and talk to them. They wonder if we came to declare our love for them, which, nope. Robin died because of them. We have no clue what's happening, where we are, but we want out right now. No one denies the Duchess. We finally find out what this demon is called, the Duchess, featuring a very unique but streamlined design with sick black adornments all over their body, a tall but skinny physique, and that monobrow. Oof. In an AMA, CB went on to mention that the Duchess is my oldest character. I mean, ancient. There's no real singular direct inspiration for the design for their personality. Their internal struggle and their physicality is kind of a representation of the things that I struggle with my own body, and also the things I wish I could be / have. In some ways, it felt like the Duchess was the main character of the game, even if we don't play as them. Though saying all of that, there is a dash of Grace Jones there as inspiration for the interpretation of this character for the story. I could write essays about the Duchess. Maybe I will. You should, CB. Just like I am writing an essay about your game now. The Duchess has been around for an incredibly long time, being an artistically outlet for CB to express themselves about their internal struggles and desires. I do want to dive deeper into this very topic after we wrap up the playthrough, as I find this character incredibly interesting and especially worth talking about. Apparently coming to their domain uninvited and then wanting to leave is rude, and the Duchess doesn't like it, but mentions we can work on it. We got time. The Duchess mentions they know many different ways of molding us into who they want us to be, their perfect idea of us, but the curse hasn't set in, so the Duchess backs off for now. They mentioned that we can simply leave through the door that leads back to our apartment, which the implications are yikes. We immediately deny, and the Duchess says they don't control us, not yet at least, and lets us take a look around as we'll be living here soon. So, welcome to the Duchess's hotel, officially! This whole area serves as a pseudo hub of sorts, as you'll be visiting after each dungeon you complete. There's a lot of incredibly great world building here and details, which I will highlight as we go on. Speaking to the staff, we're welcomed as the Duchess's latest victim, and we're free to look around. Before going into the main hall, you can find an open room with an old friend. We meet again, wretched woman. We'll be seeing this eyesore many times in our journey. Forever, once the curse is done with us, we'll even be neighbors. We ask for more info about the hotel, and the eyesore tells us each door here leads to a different victim, with the eyesore being a fallen angel on an endless mission to suppress demons. They had a dull life before this, so this is better. We mourn Robin, and the eyesore straight up says, "Deal with it, lol." We ask more questions, and if we prompt it to tell us how it ended up like this, they tell us that it was the Duchess. They weren't capable of love, and rejection leads to torture, with this eyesore having its entire flesh grafted all over the walls. They don't know any way of dealing with this curse, but says we're ungrateful for even thinking that. We have eternal love handed to us on a platter, and we just throw it away. The eyesore craves the Duchess, as they're the only thing making it feel alive. Michelle might be intriguing the first few days, but that will pass. As it stands, the fact we're so rebellious towards the Duchess is making them focus on us more, making the eyesore effectively jealous that we're getting more attention. We leave and go towards the main lobby, a beautiful, artistically rich room with many branching paths. It's the core of the hotel. Nearby, we find a winged woman who calls us out by our name, saying they weren't expecting to see us here so soon. I know what you're wondering. Who is this person? It's Clarissa. She's an angel. Surprise! Robin was a demon. Clarissa is an angel. I wonder who else has secret identities. We tell her that we lost Robin, and she offers her condolences to the best of her demon-hating angel abilities. We ask her what she's doing here, and she wants Daryl out of the way and take over his bar. The commotion we saw outside last time was Clarissa trying to exorcise a demon, and she has a heavenly quota to meet. Otherwise, it's her that will be exorcised. She also mentions that Daryl is to blame for what happened to us, that if we find a way to get rid of him, we should. She also mentions you can meet her tomorrow at the bar, and that you'll talk more then. We're not done with reveals just yet though. Going down the stairs, we see the Duchess talking to none other than Daryl.
Oh, no.
The conversation reveals that Daryl is the one bringing the Duchess their new victims, and we happen to be the latest one. The Duchess complains that the portions have been getting small, that we can't feed an empire like this with such a dull menu. Daryl doesn't understand what this has to do with him, but the Duchess reminds him that he's their right-hand man. The Duchess's problems are his to solve. Besides, he's been spending a lot of time in the kitchen anyways, so he can figure it out. Speaking to Daryl, he calls you dead girl once more, which prompts you to tell him that Robin is the one that died. And Michelle pops off on Daryl, saying that karma will get him someday. And Daryl goes off, telling us that shit doesn't matter. Michelle has friends and people who can die. Oakley is all he's got. He's now under the Duchess's foot and has to try to worm his way out of it. He mentions something about sorting something for him and Oakley's anniversary tomorrow before telling you to take a hike. Speaking to the receptionist, you can ask her questions for even more lore about this place. Formed after the Great Divide, the hotel became home to many demons and fallen angels, with the Duchess giving them meaning again. Their ultimate goal? To find love and feel whole again.
Isaac, make us whole again.
Nearby, you can also find these two dashing-looking demons, who talk about finding clothes to blend in with civilized folks. Hint hint. There's a paper on the table where an interview is being conducted with the Duchess. They ask him what the answer is to ending our suffering. Love, the Duchess responds. This so-called love is a force powerful enough to bring even fallen angels back to their golden graces. But what is love exactly? The Duchess doesn't know. What they know is that they no longer feel fulfillment and are now looking for replacement. Near the bottom of the stairs, you find Marty's admirer. Yes, the same guy from the store. Told you he was sus. But the most important entity you find here is Tad, whose silhouette we've seen before in the town right before entering the metro. Tad is a traveling artifact dealer looking for the best and quirkiest artifacts around. Tad is also revealed to be the one trading items with Marty. They were supposed to meet, but Marty can't see Tad, so emails and postals it is. Tad will accept Yowzas as cash, showing that the influence of someone as minor to the plot as Marty can have huge ramifications in the most subtle or not so subtle ways, with the demonic currency being Yowzas. Go ahead and sell all the artifacts you got this far, and you take a look at that selection of upgrades, you notice that each weapon, consumable, and ability has at least one upgrade you can do. I recommend getting the water storage immediately, as the more of them you can store, the better. Following that, the increased stun and extra bullets are the best. Damage upgrades aren't really as useful in this game, as bosses always need to be shot with the Heartbreaker in order to be defeated. As long as you're considered with your ammo usage, damage will never be a problem. If you want to be cheeky and challenge yourself, you can go for the axe upgrades alongside the prolonged stun, and just melee the shit out of everything. We now try to leave the hotel through the front door, thinking about Robin, and how we'll even get out of this mess. We'll need to take a cab That's a familiar voice. The operator is revealed as a two-headed demon, sporting a very classy outfit and a green venom tongue. They offer us a ride, saying they know where we're going because they know us. They know we want our ex back, so we want to hear what they have to say. We are now riding in the operator's car. They say we're a very special person in a very special position, with many options. They give us condolences for Robin and offer us to have what we crave once more. Leslie, our ex. They can get her back for us, and effectively end our pain. All we have to do is defeat the Duchess. The operator seems to be at odds with them, as well as justifying that their presence here is bad for the inhabitants. This is a chance to grow and become the woman our ex would love. And here we have a major choice. We can either join forces with the operator now, or tell them that we'll think about it. If you choose to think about it, nothing changes with them visiting you later to ask about your final decision, which is what I picked. This prompts the operator to show a bit of their true colors, saying we killed Robin, so they'll drop us at the church so we can tell their partner Benedict that Robin is gone because of us. Before leaving, the operator is revealed to be Lucy all along, who is one of the two endings I mentioned before. If you speak to them, they thank the devil that Robin is gone, and for us to check on Benedict, as we'll need him on our side if we decide to go down the Lucy ending route. Lucy tells you to hurry, as you don't have a lot of time now. Notice how Lucy doesn't come with you into the church. Sus. At the entrance, you can find a door leading to the church's crypt, locked for now. Inside the church, you can talk to various spirits who are being sheltered from the demons outside, with some of them being afraid to even trying to go back into the outside world at all. At the top of the stairs, we find Benedict at his computer, who says we're right on time. They say that Robin talked about us often, and we feel terrible as we have to break the news to him that Robin, his partner of centuries, is gone. Benedict tries to say that Robin had another reason to be there, and Robin comes back. Apparently, they ended up just finding another way out through the rat. Anyways, got best demon back. We asked them about their relationship with Benedict, which clearly has its issues, with Robin and Benedict trying to find ways to fix their predicament and be together. This prompts Benedict to tell us he's ran simulations with our being, and in the next couple days, we'll be changing the celestial course forever, including the fates of Robin and Benedict. Robin originally was going to do this all by themselves, but we proved our mettle in the metro, so we'll be tagging along for now. Benedict will also be researching this curse deeply, so in the meantime, he gives us the key back to town, so we can return whenever we wish. Speaking with Benedict a bit more, he'll tell you that Robin is a tough cookie, comically clumsy, but resourceful. They've known Robin before they were a demon, which prompts Michelle to ask what Robin was before, as we can't imagine them as anything but a demon now. And Benedict explains that humans have a very binary view of angels and demons, that it's less about what they are or represent and more about what they change about themselves. Demons usually have an unresolved sense of self, more than anyone we've met. Robin can fill us in on the details when they're ready. Feel free to ask him more questions if you're curious. For now, the important question though is asking if it's dangerous to date a demon, which he replies there's a rumor that when an angel and demon fall in love, they eventually both turn human. Love changes us. We don't know what happens specifically, but it does. It's a scary thought, having a limited lifespan, seeing your loved ones die. It hurts to imagine, let alone live it. What about a human and a demon? Benedict understands why we're asking, but says it might not be a good idea, as he hasn't done any calculations to figure out the results of such a pairing. You ask if breaking the curse is enough, that we should take the Duchess down while we're at it, but Benedict says that we all have our own purpose. He undoes harm, and behaving in such an opposite way could have repercussions. We mentioned that maybe we can use the Duchess instead, get her on our good side and have everything we want. And this of course doesn't appeal to Benedict one bit. We wrap up the conversation and start making our way home. As we walk outside to the church's yard, we see two new entities talking, with one of them berating the other, calling them a disgrace. Their halo has darkened. The bullied creature fights back, saying that whoever hurt him is also the love of his life. They hate him, but they love him too. Abandonment isn't an option. This makes Beloved, the dominant angel in this conversation, says that he was the one abandoned. His exile from heaven can still be fixed, as long as they are left behind. And this prompts Chamuel, the angel losing his halo, to say that that is the point. Change is a part of love, and not being an angel isn't that bad. Beloved says that they'll put a good word for Chamuel if he cleans up his act. You ask what's going on, and they quickly leave before creating more of a fuss. It's time to go back to town. Using the key Benedict gave you, unlock the church gate and find yourself right back to the main strip, with a couple changes. Violet isn't at her stand anymore, and there's a rat called Postman Creed here. We ask him what he's doing, and he says he's a postman, delivering letters for all non-human types, including celestial letters. We then ask why his name is Creed, and he has no idea. So we leave him to his breathing techniques, I guess. Near Oakley's diner, you can find a disgruntled demon with a very interesting design. They complain about the Duchess and how it's unfair that the powerful demons make it tough on all the little guys. At least they can eat at Oakley's. Beloved is outside our apartment, complaining about 2 counts of inappropriate mixing, and one angel unable to meet her quote. That's enough for one day. Let's go home. We find Stacy at the bottom of the stairs, who we vent to slightly. She says that they want the best for us, especially after a breakup. She mentions a cute black dress that arrives in her shop that would fit Michelle to a T, and you give her your word that you try it on sometime. Okay, now that's enough. I can't wait to get into bed. Oh, what the fuck is this shit? The Duchess says they want to spend time with us, to work on our relationship. We complain this is going too fast. The Duchess mentions that it takes a few days for the curse to set in, so they'll be checking on our progress periodically. Then they ask us to sit. Do you love me yet? A complicated question considering we don't even know what the Duchess is or the real name. We question why they don't just take my soul. Why this whole roleplay thing? Demons are all looking for something, and since the Duchess is looking for love and Michelle's a potential partner, they want us, for Michelle to belong to them. Why is the Duchess so desperate for love, and why us? No answer. But the Duchess does see themselves in Michelle. They both had love, and they both lost it. And since human hearts have the power to heal, the Duchess has been seeking that same transformative nature that human hearts and minds possess. They want someone or something to fix their missing love, and Michelle is special. I asked why they picked me, and they mentioned that Daryl has been great help in picking better potential partners for the Duchess. Before him, it was random. The Duchess then says they're bored and threatens you to be more entertaining next time, or else. And then she fucking leaves. So we finally hit the sack and are done for the day. At the end of each day, Michelle will reminisce back on all the choices and characters you interacted with, coming to terms with Robin and Lucy being demons, as well as meeting new angel faces like Benedict and Chamuel. Then there's the Duchess, and it feels weird having so much attention now after being alone for so long. Here Michelle wonders if she'll have influence like that again, and Dream Eater shows up, cutting our dream short, and saying that our influence will be removed. Day 1 over. Overall, first part of the game does an incredible job of introducing the characters, both major and minor, kickstarting the core themes that the game is exploring, as well as setting up plenty of payoffs later. Gameplay wise, nothing too crazy is thrown at you, with most enemies apart from the cleaver dying 1 to 3 shots from your pistol or axe hit. The Metro's level design is simple but immediately recognizable and fun to explore, offering some collectibles for those who like to wander, and a unique showdown with Jenny at the end. Jenny is an interesting character, a businesswoman who gets cursed by the Duchess and then tries everything in her power to buy her way out of the curse. She embodies materialistic values in relationships, as she is only interested in her own needs, but doesn't really care about anyone else. She will buy love if she needs to, but in the end she'll learn the valuable lesson that money cannot buy you love, not even pretend love. If you try to rat your way out of your own struggles, you'll turn into a rat yourself. Overall, the first day gave us aesthetically gorgeous set pieces, set up the narrative and themes in a natural way, and rewarded those who took the time to talk through each dialogue and explore every corner. It even finalized with a badass boss fight and plenty of character reveals. Saying I'm curious where the story is headed is putting it lightly. It's time for day 2. We start at the place we always start, the convenience store, with Lucy at the counter. They tell us they heard about Robin, and wonder if we're still interested in working with them. And here we have another choice. If you say you want more time, you won't be able to progress the Lucy ending unless you make very specific choices from now on. For the purposes of this video, I will choose to help Lucy so I can show you all the optional interactions and endings later. Lucy tells us we'll need 3 things: a shattered demon heart, an angel's halo, and the true name of the Duchess. It's up to us to figure out how to get these items. Knowing the Duchess's true name will give us power over them. Lucy has half. We'll need Daryl to figure out the other half. We need the Duchess's true name. And since Daryl only cares about Oakley, it's nothing a little manipulation won't do wonders with. Asking about the demon heart will prompt Lucy to tell you about the 2 lovers that are battling fate, that this demon will do anything for his angelic lover, so all we have to do is put a wrench in that machine for it to completely fall apart. As for the halo, we will need an angel to give it to us of his own free will, as a stolen halo holds no power, and mentions an angel longing to leave his post in pursuit of love. If we can somehow set him free, he'll repay us in kind. Lucy promises to keep their end of the bargain and leaves. It's off into town once more. Now if you try to save the game on one of the phone booths, you find that it's Lucy that saves your game, and they're so nice to you since you're helping them. Aww. Speaking to Oakley, you find them in a bit of a predicament. The health inspector is coming over today, and Daryl's shipment is late again. If the inspector shows up suddenly, that could cause issues. We ask him what he sees in Daryl anyways, and Oakley recounts that he wasn't always this headstrong and stubborn, with the catalyst being Oakley telling his parents about their relationship, which they rejected. Out of desperation, Daryl is trying way too hard to make Oakley happy, forgetting the person Oakley fell in love with in the first place. Now he's on his way to the bottom, with Oakley mentioning a tarot reading he did this morning that confirmed his fears. He asks you for a favor, if we see Daryl, to tell him to stay out of the diner today, as he could probably screw up the inspection somehow. We can probably find him at his bar. Going up and talking to Clarissa at the bar's entrance, she complains that Daryl is snubbing her, that she was meant to perform yet again, but got overshadowed by him. Now she's here only to find out that she's been replaced by someone else. Tell her about Robin's survival, and she doesn't really give a shit. She says that she wants to get rid of Daryl and use his bar as a vacuum for the Duchess's empire. You ask how you fit into this, and she says that if you find a way to get rid of Daryl, she'll be smiting demons on an hourly basis. She says that Daryl has it coming. His evil deeds have gone on for too long. Not very angel-like to say these things about a human, eh, Clarissa? She laughs it off and says there's no difference between Daryl and a demon. You ask about working for the Duchess, and she says it's not that bad, and that you can handle yourself. Working for her would mean more power, more influence, and an upgraded wardrobe. She then asks if you want to exact revenge. This choice can lock you out of her ending if you choose not to help her. To get Clarissa's ending, you have to find a way to split Oakley and Daryl, but this also means you'll be locked off the Lucy ending, as you need them to be together to get half of the Duchess's name. Since we're going to explore all endings, I'm going to decline Clarissa here. She says that Daryl wouldn't do the same for us, but we're adamant that everyone deserves a second chance. She calls us too soft and asks us why. We tell her about the deal with Lucy, and she warns us about her, that she's a silver-tongued beast. It's green, but sure. Lucy seems to be the only one offering what Michelle truly wants, but Clarissa says that she is offering her power to control her own destiny, not create a set path like Lucy. If you speak to her in her angel form, she says for you to think it over once more, but that Daryl deserves this divine punishment. You can talk to both Creed and Tad in town now, with Creed saying that you're gaining a reputation since you killed Jenny and are facing off against the Duchess, and that if you need anything delivered, today is the day to do so, as he'll be gone tomorrow. You can find the health inspector waiting for Violet to open her stall, which makes me wonder where she could be. Her number one customer is so distraught now. No cookies or pain au chocolat? Whatever shall we do? We enter Culture Shock and speak with Marty, who is currently watching an episode of Dying Petals, where Canary complains about the sudden shift in her life, that she has been trying so hard to be who she wants to be, but things have still gone so wrong. Should she change who she is for the sake of a relationship? Before we get an answer, Marty notices us and shuts off the TV, before asking about the underground metro station. To which you respond that you've been cursed. Curse? A demon curse? Yowza! Marty immediately goes into his conspiracy mode, but you tell him that you were joking and he gets sad. Poor thing. We ask about Robin and Marty tells us that they were here, but went to the aquarium, probably still searching for that relic they mentioned. Marty tried to tag along again, but no dice. Silver lining, look who's in culture shock right now. That right there is Donovan, the singer of the disbanded Fish Fight band, aka Michelle's favorite singer in the world. He's currently looking at Matilda posters that say flying with the fishes. If you know, you know.
I am under the water.
Marty then mentions that Matilda is still missing, with her fans still grieving. I wonder what happened to her. Marty then says that this whole town is cursed, which, caught? We tried denying it, but he's adamant that we'll find out the truth later. We can then explore various dialogue options with him, where he explains the Great Divide, and how demons came to be, how everything created has a heart. Demons still have hearts, albeit changed. Stronger demons have stronger hearts, and some are even coveted for their abilities. If you ask him about angels and demons getting along, he verifies that it is indeed possible. But even though there's no information about what actually happened between these two entities to make them lose their celestial powers, becoming human is a given. And since many of these beings knew each other before the Great Divide, it's tricky to find a solution, as it's uncharted territory. You then talk to Donovan, absolutely freaking out at his mere presence, and his portrait is hilarious. Look at that beautiful man. He mentions he's starting his solo career now. One of his gigs cancelled, so he was taking a look around to see where Matilda originated from. He was a fan of her work, so he's saddened at his recent work life and connections and how they turned out. He mentions he should check out the bar later, probably, at least before anyone notices him.
Bye!
Entering Daryl's bar, there you find him, taunting you as always. Before you say anything, he interjects you and says that if he could, he would leave this all behind and open an animal shelter for little rodents. He then says he loves hamsters, and even got Oakley one for their anniversary. That's a rat, but Daryl is too stupid to realize the difference, I think. He talks about how Oakley keeps rejecting his proposals, but with their new hamster, they will absolutely be in love forever. The only question is, when should he offer the hamsterino to Oakley? You ask if he wants your opinion, and he says, yeah, let him know. Choice time. This is a pretty big one actually. If you say give the gift later, you'll save Oakley from having to deal with Daryl for one day and to focus on his job. If you tell him to give the gift right away, well... We transition to Oakley's diner with Daryl calling for Oakley and Oakley getting surprised at his mere presence. The health inspector asks if it's normal for customers to be shirtless at this establishment, and Daryl calls him an old fart and tells him to shut his pie hole. He's talking to his future husband here. Daryl says he wants to be more serious about his relationship with Oakley and that he got him a gift. A symbol of our future as a family. Oakley fucking faints, and the health inspector clearly isn't happy about the fact there's a rat on the counter, saying to expect this place to close down real quick. Oakley tries to save face, but it's too late. The health inspector has made up his mind. Daryl doesn't seem to understand that he just messed up royally, which prompts Oakley to tell Daryl to leave, and he does. Complaining about his behavior to us, Oakley is wondering if it's even worth it to continue this relationship. If Daryl doesn't pull through for him, he'll need to find a new supplier and a new partner. Across from Oakley, you can talk to a ravenous demon just enjoying the leftover scraps.
Yummers.
You can also interact with Hamster and get this sound effect.
That's the cutest fucking thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Going back to the church, you find Chamuel in the courtyard. He recognizes you as the cursed girl everyone is talking about. You never imagined someone else could be going through a similar experience, so it's nice to talk to someone who can understand them. He talks of a love letter he wrote for his boyfriend, but anxiety is getting the better of him, and he isn't sure if he should send it. He mentioned Beloved from last night and how he was hurried away, but Chamuel says Beloved doesn't understand the intricacies of love. He's a soldier on a mission, obeying the rules set for him. Not understanding love can and should change you. Only worried that Chamuel will lose his angelic form. That doesn't matter one bit for people like us, people stricken with unmatched love. You say that he doesn't know you that well, and Chamuel reveals that in fact he does, as he's the angel of love. We both have a terrible ordeal with love of the demonic persuasion. You ask him about his boyfriend, and he mentions the relationship is tricky. His boyfriend is doing his best to protect the relationship, but that makes him have to reside near the boundary of both ours and the underworld, probably doing actions neither want him to do. Chamuel says that they can't be together because of the rules, and how he hates the fact that there are rules, as well as the fact his boyfriend is trying to handle things, preferring for them to be as they are, safe, but apart. Chamuel is just ready to say fuck it, we'll do it live, because love is meant to cause change, and he's tired of skirting around commitment. Ask about what his relationship is like now, and he mentions that it's been all over the place for eons. His paranoia led him down a dark path, and he became obsessed with protecting Chamuel. And now, he has banned Chamuel from ever seeing him, as they could turn mortal at any given time, especially Chamuel. And this confirms that Chamuel's boyfriend is indeed a demon, and if you've been paying attention, you already know who it is. If not, wait for the reveal later. It's really good. He says that demons being unsalvageable is a myth. Most are simply misunderstood, and some mistake their agony for anger. The Duchess is just a person who's lost and in pain. You ask if that can be fixed, and Chamuel gives you a hard-to-swallow pill and says, no, you don't fix someone in order to love them. You use your love to help them heal. What's the point of being the angel of love if he can't even have love himself? He'd rather turn human. He's aware of the dangers, but decides to ask you if he should keep going or give up on his relationship. And here, yet another choice is presented to you. If you're going for the Lucy ending, you need to make Chamuel end his relationship with his demon boyfriend, as I will get you the demon heart later. For now, we'll get him to accept the change of love. As you probably guessed, Chamuel is the last of the 4 endings that we can go for, with his ending offering what is in my opinion the most thematic and most powerful ending in Sorry We're Closed. You tell Chamuel that if you had the chance you'd take the risk for love, and he mentions that you do have the chance right now, and if you'll be doing the tango with the demon of desire. I don't know, man. A decision has been made. Chamuel asks you for one final favor, the letter. It needs to be delivered to the underworld through the church, and with Beloved in there, Chamuel doesn't stand a chance. Thankfully, we know just a person to deliver this letter. Before leaving, Chamuel tells us that if we can make the Duchess understand that the power of love is greater than their current empire, things will be better. Nearby, you can find another friendly spirit, who says that even if there's a risk of demons, the flowers are still lovely this time of year. Inside the church, you find 2 other spirits, with one of them saying that the previous spirit is probably dead outside, and that it's much safer in here. The other remarks that the outside world isn't as scary as it seems, and the spirit should try it. Talking to Beloved, he mentions that there has to be a way for Chamuel to break up with his filthy boyfriend, that he has been altered by the demon, and that now he's weak. Angels aren't weak, and angels aren't meant to be with demons. You ask if Beloved will try to stop Benedict too, and he says no. Benedict outranks him, as much as he would love to. Here Michelle rightly asks about how come the rules apply to some and not others, and Beloved retorts with how the rules apply to everyone, but he can only enforce them on some, showing the underlying blind devotion Beloved has for his rulers. Beloved asks if you ever had a splinter stuck in your finger, and compares that feeling all over your body to what love feels like, that it would even get worse. Chamuel could even become human. The question is, would that be so bad? If you want to go for the Lucy ending, you can straight up give Chamuel's letter to Beloved now, giving him reason to seal away Chamuel as an effort to keep him as an angel. I of course decide not to, as I want my boy to be happy with his boy. Walking up to Robin and Benedict, they welcome you back and inform you on all their findings, including how to get rid of your curse. Benedict mentions it won't be easy, with our best bet being to dissolve the curses of the other victims first, effectively nerfing the Duchess. We'll need people like Jenny. Speaking of, Robin found Jenny's eye when they were leaving the rat guts. And apparently we'll need these to save ourselves. It is in fact Jenny's third eye. Same power bestowed to us by the Duchess. Just the fact we're holding one makes us more powerful. Once we get stronger, we can challenge the Duchess. A demon must always accept a challenge, according to lore. But that's the plan right now. Get strong enough and challenge the Duchess for our freedom. We ask if we three could fight the Duchess, but Benedict can't even leave his post as he's guarding this big, totally not ominous door. So we have to collect more eyes. 3 in total. We already have one from Jenny, and another victim was found at the aquarium. Now we know why Robin was asking Marty about the aquarium. Peak detective work, Michelle. Before leaving the church, you can talk to Benedict again for more lore tidbits about the world. He clarifies why his post is so important. How guarding this entrance to the underworld requires him to continually monitor it, to constantly create failsafes so no demon can get through, with him now having to create new formulas daily. You ask, how come demons are still around, given how detailed Benedict is? And he explains that smaller demons are like sand falling through a net. They're harmless usually, so less of a priority. Demons like the Duchess are enough of a nightmare. Imagine more demons that powerful roaming around. No thanks. Benedict then mentions how Robin is desperate to help him escape, even before London had electricity, with him acknowledging that he needs to present himself well, so Robin doesn't fall deeper in despair when the new plan eventually fails. He then thanks us for being their friend, and for giving Robin more meaning than this endless quest. You can find Robin outside waiting for you, so they can take you to the aquarium. If you want to go for the Chamuel ending, however, make sure you visit Postman Creed before going, and give him the letter for Chamuel's boyfriend. Creed will make sure his boyfriend gets it. In exchange, he wants us to be friends, just so he can make his friends jealous, which, okay, I guess. Back to Robin, let's get the show on the road. We transition to Robin's car with an absolute banger of an OST playing. You ask them about yesterday. They explained that they've been looking for a relic to free Benedict for a long time. They had followed a signal received at Benedict's post, but it turned out to be the Heartbreaker. Now, they're still searching and asked for our help. For Robin specifically, this choice isn't as important as another one later on, but it's in your best interest to always help Robin anyways. So that's what I picked for now. It's a lot to ask of Michelle, but we're in the perfect spot to help Robin, so we'll do it. You can then ask Robin if they were always a demon, and they say no. You ask what happened, and they explain that it's the same thing that happens to all demons. You see something wrong, you obsess over it, and you fall. Originally, the Great Divide was how many became demons, but recently that has taken a more modernized form, with any angel or human being able to become a demon. You ask them why they're helping you in the first place, and they respond that you're helping them find the relic, so it's only fair. Which doesn't make sense since Robin was there before we knew about the relic. Robin says they owe us, which, what for? The $4 sandwich we bought last week? In a hilarious bit of dialogue, if you don't give the moldy sandwich to Mr. Shaky Shaky in the underground, Robin will take it from you and eat it. Delicious. No. Welcome to the second dungeon of the game, the aquarium. It's slightly longer than the underground metro with new enemies and new mechanics thrown in, with it all culminating in a really awesome boss fight. So, let's get this eye. We first find a crater collectible, a button hidden behind the table that opens the way forward, and some ammo inside a breakable box. Going through the open door, we have a new enemy type. Jesus. These cockroaches will weigh in late for you on the ceiling before dropping down on your head, just like a slime from Dark Souls. They don't have too much health, however, so nothing a couple of shots in their hearts won't fix. Now in the main plaza of the aquarium, you can destroy these barricades to enter the bathroom and find a very familiar entity. Mr. Shaky Shaky makes his return! Still craving the same 3 items as before. There's a sink in the bathroom nearby, in case you need help, by the way. Figured I should mention that. In front of the aquarium is Matilda's first echo. We see her strongly pulling on another woman's wrist, dragging her along. The woman complains about the pain, but Matilda just daydreams about how wonderful aquarium dates are. The picture opportunities, cute themed areas, and the fact you get to see yourself over and over and over again in the fish tanks. Oh boy, she's a crazy one. She turns to her date with the most terrifying eyes and says that they are their true love now, even though they just met. Matilda didn't like that and asks her if she's getting dumped, if she doesn't like her. Because if that's true, then she's rude and stupid. Matilda will die if she's not wanted. If she dies, then she won't be a part of the world anymore. Matilda then throws her date into the fucking fish tank, breaking their skull on the glass before literally dropkicking them and crushing whatever was left of their grey matter. She then leaves angrily, saying that she will find something that will adore her, even if it's a fish.
Sometimes foreshadowing is relatively obvious.
She's adamant that only she can choose who adores her, not the other way around. If you haven't caught on this far, this is the same Matilda that went missing not too long ago. The same Matilda that has a shrine in Culture Shock where we first met Donovan. Matilda's hotel door is inside the tank, which means she must be nearby. Dropping from above is kinda dangerous. Maybe if Robin... Well, that didn't work. Michelle suggests we fill up the tank with water, as the pressure would probably be enough to break the glass. Let's just hope we don't get our coat wet. It's dry clean only. You kill more enemies in the next room and make your way to the first pipe puzzle. If you've played Bioshock, this is exactly the same pipe minigame in that, just bigger. Dodge the cleaver enemy or kill it with your Heartbreaker and make your way into the main office, which acts as a safe room, Resident Evil style. You can also find a book here that retells someone's concerns about the local fish, how they're becoming increasingly aggressive and the aquarium almost feels haunted. Anyways, don't say too much because now you have to make your way to storage and find the baddest boy in the game, the shotgun. It hits hella hard, has its own upgrades for you to purchase, and is by far the best weapon other than the Heartbreaker. Originally, there was going to be a crossbow as well. Tom from Allo Mode explains that before the Heartbreaker existed, the player's only long-range weapon was the crossbow, no charging meter, just tried and true ammo like the pistol and shotgun. Originally, we were going to have 3 weapons, the pistol, the shotgun, and crossbow. The Heartbreaker didn't exist at this point, so the crossbow gave the long-range powerful shot, without any of the charging meter though, and it has its own ammo back then. We had 2 problems. A, the crossbow was too powerful, having ammo you could carry, and B, in playtests we found it was not fun at all to run out of ammo and have no way to attack. Heartbreaker allowed us a way to both limit the crossbow, have to charge it up to get 1 shot, and also have a nice visual reward for using it. We added the axe so players could have something to try and survive with, even if they are much more likely to die without ammo for the guns. It also allowed players to progress through barriers like planks and boxes, without needing to use up ammo. I was iterating on the axe quickly, and in my first test, used the weapon slot for the newly redundant crossbow, editing the parameters for a close range attack. Even today, the axe is called crossbow in the code. They quickly found out that the crossbow was just too powerful due to the fact that you could just hoard ammo for it, as well as if the opposite happened and you ran out of ammo, you'd soft lock your playthrough. Heartbreaker was the key mechanic that tied this all together, replacing the crossbow and having a fillable meter as opposed to regular ammo you find in the world. And it also gave Tom the opportunity to much better balance the game with bosses. And they gave us the now iconic axe, who doubles as a tool to break barriers in the game. The axe being called crossbow to this day is a neat little detail. You can find a rock solid frozen fish in a nearby cabinet, a perfect snack for a bathroom hopping shaky friend. Going to the opposite room where you found the shotgun, we find another eyesore, but this one is angelic. While it's present, forget about using your third eye. Shooting it does nothing, as it's protected, so you'll have to find a way to get rid of it to proceed. They're essentially level blockers like a locked door, but with extra steps. Yes. In the next room you find yet another eyesore, and after dealing with a rat, you'll find a very peculiar enemy. That fucking thing is nightmare fuel. It will grab you and eat you nom-nom style, and since I'm arachnophobic, those damn legs give me the heebie-jeebies. I don't like Spider-Man in this game, and I just hope that there are no man-spiders later. Go back for revenge, you can't use the eye, so you fill his ass with bullets the old-fashioned way. Fuck you, Spider-Man. Inside the room Spider-Man was at, you can find a bottle of hot sauce. Take it, as you'll need it later. You make it through the room to find yourself on the other side of the angelic eyesore room. Using the eye will make an important item drop between realities, allowing you to pick it up. It's a handy water filter. In the reserve tank, you can find the other missing puzzle piece on the top half of the room, the water sample. Taking both the water sample and filter back to the pipe room from earlier will allow you to power up the machine and finally complete the actual piping portion of this room. So you fiddle with the pipes until you get the correct sequence. Push the button and drain the water towards the main lobby. There's also a door that requires a key card nearby, we'll come back to it later. Since you'll return to the main lobby, make sure to feed the frozen fish to our shaky friend. He'll thank you with 7 yowzas. The tank now has water, but it's not enough to break the glass. Robin, however, got to work while we were away and managed to break open another path for us, which we'll take now. Robin also mentions they'll want to stay here as they're afraid of getting eaten again. Understandable. Have a nice day. Oh god, what is that? Yup, you got both Spider-Man and man-spiders in this game. Truly a survival horror game. You make it through the exposition tanks into a stairwell that is incredibly cool. I love how the background is just an empty void here. Going all the way down, you find another Spider-Man, but this time you won't tap that fucker. Let's go, Michelle! Woo, Michelle! The door downstairs leads you to this funky hallway and we meet another familiar sight. Our friendly eyesore is back and bigger than ever, even protecting itself from us this time. We ask how it keeps finding us and it mentions they have plenty of eyes everywhere. It has been planning this conversation for a while, so let's humor it. The eyesore tells us they intend to trap us down here until the Duchess comes for us. It says it knows what we're trying to do, and it won't let us take its joy away. It says there's absolutely no way past it, so you can be damn sure we're going to find a way past it. As we enter the next room, oh no, we're trapped by the eyesore. It's totally not revealing how it's getting more powerful and giving us hints on how to get out of here. No, sir. Anyways, use your eye near the generators to blow them up. And you do this to both the ones at the bottom, you grab the relic as you go back up, you blow up the final generator, and bada bing bada boom. Good riddance indeed. Now entering the eyesore room, we find plenty of consumables, a note detailing how someone got stuck in this room and to pray for them. How there's people, but they don't look right. And if no one opens the doors eventually, he'll be starving soon. Let's just say that Barnaby might not have made it out, as you find a keycard right next to the door, allowing you access to that previously seen security door. As you make your way back to the main lobby, the creatures inside the exhibition tanks escape and try to kill you. Yes, including Man-Spider. You find Robin again and they ask what the heck just happened. You explain your progress so far and joke with them on how they're getting progressively scared of investigating now, which you're happy to do. Making your way back to the locked door, use the keycard and find yourself in a circular room with another echo from Matilda. She has gone on a killing spree, with no one apparently falling in love with her. I wonder why. That's when the Duchess comes in. They say they're there for Matilda, for her to stop humiliating herself as she has everything she needs right here. This strikes a nerve, and Matilda gets angry, berating the Duchess, and in a fit of rage, tries attacking the Duchess. This doesn't go according to plan. With the Duchess saying that Matilda just needs a readjustment to see the truth. Then the Duchess cuts Matilda's limbs off, turning her into the mess she's always been. The Duchess tells Matilda that the demon world is a dangerous place. It will change you, piece by piece. A place that pushes you so far, you won't be able to recall who you were at the end of it all. The Duchess is speaking from experience, giving room to think that they were once a powerful angel who also fell in the Great Divide. The Duchess offers Matilda solace from all these woes in exchange for love. Matilda's time, however, is up. If she won't lose herself in the Duchess's love, then she'll lose herself entirely. Following room can give you a bit of trouble, as there's a carefully placed spike on the floor, which will almost result in a man-spider going after you. My strat? Huddle a corner and shoot everything down. It works wonders. Heartbreaker, bitch. You fight more cockroaches and man-spiders before finding yourself in another darkened stairwell. Going up, you find an entrance to a control room, containing another echo from Matilda. She's looking a lot worse for wear, craving water, with half of her body turning into a fish. The new her will be sexier than ever. Going up the ladder in the control room, find not one, not two, but 3 different pipe puzzles. You have to make sure all of them are working. You can check your progress by pushing the button at the bottom of the room at any point. After you're done, you'll drain more water into the main tank, and you can now go to the top of said tank. Matilda is probably inside somewhere, and there's no way we're diving into poopy water. Wait, there's something moving. Oh, hi there, Matilda. Welcome to the second boss of Sorry We're Closed, featuring another creative fight, great blending of game mechanics and an absolutely banging soundtrack alongside it. It's a bit harder than the Rat Jenny fight with more sweeping attacks, slams, and the occasional fake out, but by far the best way to deal with Fish Tilda here is to run from side to side, charge up the Heartbreaker as much as you can, and spam that shit into her chest. With the last heartbreaker shot fired, Matilda falls deeper into the tank. We still need her eye, so now what? I guess Robin will do it. Well, that works, I guess. Approaching Matilda, she says that she wasn't good enough for anyone, not even herself. Since she doesn't see a point in existing if she can't be beautiful, she accepts her fate. And even hopes it hurts. Second eye acquired. Robin praises our stunts and suggests we visit the hotel through Matilda's door, as it's an opportunity to find the last victim and properly investigate the hotel. Benedict also found a signal there, which could be the relic Robin has been chasing this whole time. 2 birds with 2 stones? Sure, Robin. We enter the hotel once more and pay our neighbor Eyesore a visit. It really doesn't like us messing with its plans, and ask it if we break the curse for ourselves, will the other victims be free as well? And the answer is no. The issue is that if Michelle breaks the curse, she'll be the first, the one that got away. The Duchess probably won't be able to live with themselves and spiral, making it so the Eyesore wouldn't get its sweet, sweet torture it craves. You can ask about the Duchess, and they say they've been in search of love since the beginning of time, before humans were even a concept. You ask how come they never found a suitable partner, and the Eyesore says that they want to find love, and for things to remain unchanged. The Duchess wants love, but fears the change that comes with it. It would mean losing their power and leaving this world behind, completely unearthing their origins. The Eyesore needs the Duchess to remain here, so it can get the torture it craves. We ask if the Duchess likes anything other than torture, and it's pain au chocolat! They're obsessed with them. We can also ask about Daryl, and guess what? The Eyesore doesn't like him either. It just sees him as another obstacle that takes away from its sweet torture time. You can find Clarissa in front of the main lobby, and she'll tell you that she's looking for dirt on Daryl, looking for something so unforgivable that Oakley will dump him on the spot. God, she's low-key terrible. She informs you that she's been banned from his bar, so this is the best she can do. Clarissa then gives you a camera to get dirt on Daryl for her, even though you didn't agree. She tried to use her rank against you, which of course doesn't work because you don't give a shit. Clarissa talks about the hotel's kitchen and how there's definitely something to be found there. We have one shot with it, so we better make it count.
Fantastic!
In the lobby, you can talk to Robin, who is coming to terms with Daryl's involvement in this whole thing, and wonders how an idiot like Daryl even got that kind of responsibility in the first place. You mentioned that you can take him down, and Robin appeals to your empathy, saying that we should avoid him instead. But Michelle is adamant that the opportunity is there, so she should take it. Robin disagrees, and says that if you step down to his level, you'll be just as bad as him. You ask Robin if it's safe for them to be here, and while not 100% safe, they'll manage just fine. You can ask about the relic, and Robin tells you that they haven't been able to find it yet, and that it's probably locked away somewhere. With them saying that there is a good reason you don't see many demons in the victim hall. Remember this detail. Feel free to talk to Tad, sell your artifacts, and upgrade whatever weapon you're comfortable with. By this point, you should have both water bottle capacity upgrades. Trust me, you'll need them. Speaking to the hotel manager, he mentions that there will be a confession today, one of their most popular events. You can ask about the kitchen, in which he tells you that Daryl has restricted access, hoping to make the kitchen more efficient. If we want to go in there, we're gonna have to go through him. If you ask him about the other victims, he tells you that they're all in their individual rooms, waiting to be called for their confession, where they usually fail. You find Daryl talking to the jester, with both berating each other over petty things. Daryl is apparently not doing too hot. Following him inside the hall, you can find a note detailing Creed's postal service. This is the game telling you how to get Chamuel's ending indirectly in case you messed it up beforehand. Daryl is blocking your path to the kitchen, and calls you Royal Deadness. What a title. He complains that he's messing up because his relationship with Oakley is strained. If he loses him, he'll be done for. Daryl is not crashing out. It's all going wrong. And he's blaming us for it, apparently. We offer our help, and instead of being smart and saying yes, Daryl instead opts to give you death threat, which gives you the option to punch him or punch him. Let's punch him. After that, he thanks you for snapping him out of it. He doesn't want to get angry in front of Mimi. Mimi is now their official pet rat, and it's short for Michelle, as a reminder of her whenever she eventually rests in peace. He asks you what he should do to make it up to Oakley, and you ask him what he wants, like Truly wants. Daryl thinks about it and says that Violet, the girl that owns the corner bakery, has been stealing his customers, all thanks to her amazing pain au chocolat. If Oakley gets the recipe for those buggers, he'd have an edge over Violet. So that's the plan. He wants to steal the recipe, but the Duchess will rip his perfect brush hair off if that recipe disappears. If only we had a way of, I don't know, photographing the recipe? He mentions that if we do this for him, he'll do anything we want, and we ask for the Duchess's true name. We know he has half of it, and he doesn't need to know our deal with Lucy. We go into the kitchen. Oh, we find Violet has been captured and held against her will in the kitchen. She asks if you're here to help, and you apologize and say no. Apparently, it was Daryl that put her here. She tells you about these shipments, where they force her to process and pack meat. And make pain au chocolat. We leave Violet and are faced with a choice. We can either photograph the recipe and help Daryl restore Oakley's relationship, or take a picture of the bloody meat and completely sever them. If you're going for the Clarissa ending, take a picture of the leftover red chocolate. If you want the Chamuel ending, the Lucy ending, or the Robin ending, take a picture of the recipe. For now, that's what I'll do. Before we leave the kitchen, you can meet a friendly man spider named Armando. Similarly to Mr. Shaky, he will ask you for various items you can find throughout your journey, and exchange them for yowzas. He asks you for something sour and crunchy, something flaming hot, and something yeasty and bubbly. You should have found both the pickle jar and the hot sauce by now, so feel free to give him both. Armando also promises to let Violet go if you get all the items he needs. Let's see if he stays true to that. We go into the theater room, and we see Jester Dan introduce the newest victim that will confess her love for the Duchess. The terrified girl is room 367. The Jester asks if she's ready, and the Duchess asks her if she loves her. She says yes, she does, but the Duchess affirms she's lying, and to grind her. Holy shit. There we have it. Love is not in the air tonight. That's what awaits us if we don't break this curse. So, let's figure it out, eh? Speaking to the demon couple, they talk about how lovely it is here in the hotel. How it's an opportunity for them to spend time together, which doesn't happen often. You ask about the victim hall, and they say they know nothing about it. Sad. You can also find Creed here, your best friend. He tells you that your letter has been delivered, and not to worry about it. No matter what you ask him, his knowledge of the other victims and the hotel itself is limited, only caring about the food and catching the latest Dying Petals episode. The Nom Nom demon that's usually at the diner is also here, not for entertainment, but to consume. Speaking to the Duchess, they say they've been thinking about us, and how it's a shame we haven't spent more time together. You can ask if they're okay, and they say they're fine. You say they seem sad. And they respond that years ago, things were very different. They have an empire now. All that remains is to find the missing piece of themselves, love. Ask them if they think love will fix them. They know it will, highlighting the toxic nature of what the Duchess knows as love. The Duchess says that we could have all of this together, and you deny her dreams, saying that her version of you doesn't exist. This is Fantasyland. They say that even though our worlds are different, theirs isn't a fantasy, completely misunderstanding what Michelle is saying. You ask about the other victims and why you're different, and the Duchess simply says that we're the most rebellious one, the one that actually questions and thinks for oneself. They talk about another victim that had potential, but ended up only being interested in having the third eye vision. I'm sure we'll meet her later. You ask what happened to her, and apparently she has entombed herself in the depths, somewhere in the threshold between realities. The Duchess also mentions that she robbed the key to their room, and this key is going to be very important very soon. You decide to leave, but not before the Duchess asks you to go out on a proper date, in an effort to be more human. Love is changing them, and they don't even notice it. The date is set for tomorrow night. We're asked to dress something nice, and we'll meet back here. For now, the door to our bedroom is open, and we can leave whenever we wish. Going back to our room's entrance, we find Robin, who asks if we've had any luck so far, and we inform them about the victim that entombed herself in the depths, how she stole a key from the Duchess, and Robin comments on how they feel a similar presence to the underground metro where they found the Heartbreaker, right here, with this one being the strongest, right in front of the Duchess's room. Looks like an interesting door. I wonder what's behind it. Robin leaves, and we go to our bedroom, and straight to bed, cause god that was a lot. Let's recap everything so far. We've acquired the second of the 3 eyes we need. Clarissa wants to take Daryl down, with our photography choice being paramount to her ending. Daryl himself deserves another chance, even though he's made his own mistakes. He's coming from a good-natured place, so we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. For now. Chamuel is stricken with unimaginable weight, and probably the most troubling relationship of the entire cast. We sent his letters through Creed, but him believing demons can be healed stuck with us. He makes the Duchess sound like someone that is worth saving. Could that even happen? And let's not forget about Lucy, the only one offering what we truly want. They're playing a bigger game, and we're one of the pawns. But would that be so bad? We'd get Leslie back at least. Before we wake, we're visited by the Dream Eater again, telling us to accept our destiny and to die with the curse. There is no reason to change. If you tamper with fate, you will suffer. And he promises he'll deal with you soon. The third day begins with us leaving our apartment, and depending on your choices, you'll find Lucy at the bottom, telling you that you fucked up. But you still have time to make it right. This is in relation to delivering Chamuel's letter through Postman Creed, with the only way to nullify this choice being to find Beloved and telling him about it, which we won't do. Sorry Lucy. For now we leave her, and we go back out into town. If you talk to Larry, one of the random town individuals, he'll tell you to never take things for granted, that one day could all come crashing or burning down. His house burned down once. Hopefully nothing like that ever happened. What the fuck happened to my shop? The manager is furious and apparently blames us for this? Okay. We of course have no idea what even happened as we were sleeping the entire night. He fires us on the spot and lets us go. We find Clarissa across from the manager. She asks you if you put the camera to good use, and depending on your choices again, you either tell her you photographed the meat or the recipe. Speaking to the postman, he reiterates how cursed this route is, even though it feels better today. Must be the lack of translucent demon rats. If you talk to Stacy, she'll ask what happened to the shop, and you don't know. She does notice that you've been going out more, and you end up telling her that you have a date with the devil, and Stacy asks for the deeds. I told her how I'm not really into them that much, and she says I should give them a chance, but we're still hurt from our ex. Stacy, however, is offering advice, tells us to keep an open mind, and since it's a date, we should really go properly dressed, as the Duchess requested. Stacy then offers you the dress she mentioned on day 1 if you spoke to her then. Inside Culture Shock, you find Marty's demon admirer, who is pondering if Marty should get a third eye himself so he can see them. Kinda messed up. Nearby is the same disgruntled demon, who keeps complaining how bad the Duchess is at running their empire, saying they'd do much better, starting by not having a tacky Hotel Transylvania knockoff. And mentions coffee shops with demons in mind. Is this a Tokyo Ghoul reference but demons now? You talk to Marty and he says that Robin went into the crypt and this time he followed them. He got caught, but he had a revelation and tells us that Robin is a demon. Oh boy. He talks about how the crypt gives him the creeps and how he heard about a gate to the underworld in the church, as well as something about a cherub's blade. He tried messaging Tad again, but since the goatster didn't show up, Marty is thinking it's a demon too. God, he's so smart. We can ask him about the blade and he'll tell you that it's an angel relic, that even cutting food with it will imbue said food with angelic properties. Marty mentions that he would lure demons here with it and says, real demons, right here. Could you imagine? If you ask how to become a demon, he tells you that all you need to do is find true darkness and stay in it. Wait long enough and you become part of it. So anything can become a demon. What about becoming a human? Marty is blown away at the retrospective question, promising to research it soon. If you tell him about the Duchess, he immediately connects the dots that was a powerful demon that cursed you. They're considered an archdemon, an extremely powerful entity. Marty also reveals he knows about the Duchess's vision granting powers, which allows people to not only peek into the demon world, but also lets them see the Duchess's true appearance. He also knows the Duchess is searching for true love. What a Chad. Going into the bar and speaking to Daryl, he tells you that he can't seem to crack Oakley, and then asks us if we took a picture of the recipe and to make sure to give it to Oakley. You can also find Donovan in the bar, and if you speak to him, he'll tell you about a new gig he has for tonight, at an exclusive location, and asks us to stop by if we can. Unfortunately, we say we're gonna be busy, but we promise to catch another one of his shows soon. Speaking to Oakley, he complains that this town is increasingly becoming agitated. Now Michelle's shop crashed down randomly, and he notices you haven't been sleeping well. He tells you to go home and meditate, which honestly we kinda need. Then he complains about Daryl, saying that he doesn't think he can be with him anymore. Bringing a rat to his diner was a terrible idea. And here you can give him the recipe and he will be extremely surprised. He'll need to do better than that Oakley isn't easily impressed, and asks you to tell Daryl exactly that. Alternatively, if you told Daryl to wait on the gift and now give Oakley the recipe, he'll be really happy, saying it's his love language, and thanks you for making a good impression on him. Suddenly, Daryl walks in and says he can't wait anymore. This is it. Daryl walks up and professes his love for Oakley.
Your eyes, yeah, they're like two shining marbles. Your cheeks, rosy like when I beat that guy's face. In that one time, but way nicer and prettier. Your hands are soft and always will be, 'cause he'll fight any fight for you. Your teeth glinting like my favorite butterfly knife, the one I got you for your birthday last year. Yeah, that's the one. Oakley, you are the onion to my soup, the garlic to my bread, the pasta sauce to my pasta. Oakley, will you take my hand in marriage? Oakley fucking faints.
He kinda said yes, I guess. Daryl thanks you and in return gives you half of the Duchess's true name, which, in case you forgot, you need for the Lucy ending. The health inspector then comes in and Daryl bails. If you look at the item Daryl gave you, you still cannot read it as the Duchess's name is written in a language you can't read. Probably Elvish or some shit. Back to our main playthrough, we leave the diner and find Clarissa not too happy with our choices. To get her ending and progress her storyline, you have to separate Oakley and Daryl. By this point, you should have sent Daryl immediately to the diner and taken a picture of the meeting in the kitchen and show it to Oakley, solidifying their separation but losing the opportunity to do the Lucy ending. She then says Daryl got lucky with how kind we are and starts prepping a different plan. Speaking to Daryl in his bar, you tell him that you gave Oakley the recipe, but he took it as an insult to his pride. Daryl then spirals and wonders what we can do for him. And then he suggests the cherub's blade. Apparently Oakley believes it will make his cooking better. Making your way to the church, you find the spirits have started coming outside, happy to give the world another chance. Chamuel is nearby, and he laments on how there's nothing for him in either heaven or earth. That maybe he should just go to the underworld. He tells you that he's starting to become mortal, and that he could use your help. He asks you if he's making the right choice, that he's been thinking about his demonic partner all night, and that maybe losing his angelic power doesn't really mean that much. Our destinies are paralleled, and we mention we can't fix the Duchess. To which Chamuel responds that love is the healer, not us as a person. There is no precursor, nothing more to it. You love and help the other heal. Pain is a part of the process of love, but fearing it will cause us to wane and be left behind. Chamuel is ready for this. Are we? He then asks us if we could ever love a demon. I decided to say yes. And Chamuel believes me. He mentions that for love to work, both must accept the changes that come with it. Perfection is a myth. With this, Chamuel now believes he can reach his demon boyfriend and find a way to be together, with the Duchess seeing our interaction and putting their trust that we can indeed show them what love means. So it's decided. We both will follow our hearts, even if it's with our dying breath. Chamuel mentions that he will be confronting the demon tonight, and sets off. If you deliver the letter to Beloved instead, Chamuel will instead be sorrowful. He's still becoming mortal, but with a heavy heart admits that he must break it off with his boyfriend for his own well-being. That everyone else is right, and that this relationship cannot continue. While Chamuel still believes love is the healer, he no longer lets it be his guiding light. And then asks you the same question. Could you ever love a demon? If you say no, Chamuel will agree with you and come to realize that we cannot reject fate, even if it's for love. He then says he will act on our wisdom and right the wrongs of this wretched being, affirming that he is still an angel, and that's his duty. Inside the church, if you speak with Beloved after responding no, he'll tell you that he feels Chamuel's fate is sealed, that our actions will always end up with him in the same spot, no matter what. It's too late. Alternatively, like we did in our main playthrough, he will instead say that love is a small insignificant thing, which is ironic coming from an angel who runs on love. Speaking to Benedict, we find him in a panic. Robin has gone into the crypt. He tried to stop them, but no dice. They found the next victim in the crypt and apparently the Duchess mentioned something that caused Robin to go into a frenzy. We ask what the big deal is, and Benedict says that this time it's bad. The crypt below the church runs off of the darkness of the underworld. If Robin gets hurt, they might never make it back out of there. Benedict's simulations also aren't good, and he asks us to get Robin back, as we're truly the only ones capable of navigating such a place, cause, you know, third eye, shifting realities thing. Walk out the church and enter the third dungeon of the game. The crypt. Almost immediately, we can see the very first memory of the next victim, named Gabriella. She's seen staring at the painting of her parents, saying that she's on a level way above them now. She seems to be hunting for some kind of family treasure inside of these crypts. Now they'll finally see her worth. We enter the first floor of the crypt and find a safe phone. Depending on your choices, Lucy can tell you screwed up their entire ending here. As in my placer, I helped Chamuel, becoming unable to obtain a demon heart. This interaction can happen as early as day 2, if you immediately screw up Oakley and Daryl's relationship at every turn, making you lose half of the Duchess's true name. Lucy will also berate you and be extremely rude each time you save, and I love that detail. We find a memory of Robin, who seems to be in a rush, jumping down into the next floor. This crypt dungeon has the most captivating design and layout in my opinion, with it being divided into multiple floors with various objectives and collectibles. The enemy variety and general progression make this one of my favorite levels in the whole game. Going into the first room, we're introduced to my worst arachnophobic nightmare, spider bats. Yes, spider bats. You didn't need to imagine that combination, and now you don't have to, since they're right here and they're awful. I hate them. I hate how they hide in the walls. No.
You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting. This is awful in every way. If I could kill it, I would.
Soon after, you find a dog statue that asks for your help. Apparently it's an old spirit that is being trapped by these fake statue enemies. These statues only move when you have your third eye open and can only be killed by shooting their weak points. If you weren't good at aiming before, you will be now. The dog then says that we'll be able to help him using our third eye. And if you played Braid before, this is exactly the same mechanic as the movable time ring, only with the dog following you instead. You bring him to the button and he makes the room spin, allowing you to progress further into the crypt. We make it to the second floor where we can see various items below us. A few more enemies later, you find another dog statue that needs your help. And as you bring it back to the main button, you can accidentally unlock gates containing more statue enemies, so make sure you're prepped. Bringing the dog back to the button will have him unlock the gate to proceed, and warns you that it gets more dangerous the further you go. Soon after we find another Robin Echo. They are bleeding profusely, but are adamant to keep going as they're getting closer. You go through the coffin and find yourself in this tight hallway. The game will do this a bunch of times, so make sure you're kiting enemies and save yourself some much needed water bottles for the crypt's ending. You'll need them. Coming out of the tight corridors, you find yourself in a plane between floors, where you can see what else the level has in store for you. Speaking of, eyesore time, baby. Not helping this dog yet. Above the dog, you can see a doorway that leads to a lever. Interesting. Going further down, you find our dear friend Mr. Shaky inside a coffin, and if you're playing this perfectly, you're only missing one item for him, which you'll get very soon. Now comes one of the most shit, here we go again mechanics of the game. You see these spikes? You wanna walk through them? Better open your eye and find the correct path then. I don't dislike this entirely, it just feels very slow considering you can't run. Going to the next section and walking up the stairs, we enter a room with yet another memory from Robin, and oof, they're looking messed up. Robin is lost and bleeding really bad. We gotta make haste and get to them ASAP. Before you do, there's a mystic knight nearby with a golden key. If you ask him for it, he will say that he'll give it to you in exchange for a game. A memory game. The answer is Great Conductor and 5 Passengers. You're welcome. He gives you the key and you get the fuck out. I guess now is a good time to mention that if you've been breaking barrels for ammo and health, you should be careful from now on. There be cockroaches in them vases. If you go through the double statue spike room and then downwards, you'll find another knight that gives you an offering of either peace, which gives you water bottles, or war, which gives you shotgun shells. Just pick whichever you need the most. You find yourself back in the previous eyesore dog room and flip the lever, causing the eyesore to do a Huggy Wuggy cosplay and fall down a pit. You can now go back to the previous room, kill the statues, and bring the dog to the button, which will unlock the way once more. Here is where things get interesting. We find a memory of Gabriella, looking over an open coffin. She apparently got hurt getting down here, and threatens her bodyguard's life if it happens again. She opens the coffin and inside is her father, who she proceeds to berate and then dumps his watch alongside him, saying that his ugly watch was more a part of her life than he was. That after all this time, she's done with it. You walk over and grab the watch. As you do, her dad comes alive as a giant cockroach. Holy what? You shoot the hell out of the bugger, and he's effectively a mini-boss, as he has not one but 2 hearts you gotta shoot with the Heartbreaker. Easy enough though. You kill Gabriella's dad for the second time and move forward to find yet another knight in the next room, who shows you a barricade, in case you missed it or something. Inside this not so secret path lies the ancient yeast, which I'm sure Armando would love. Soon after, you enter a huge room where nothing seemingly happens, and then, as you're about to leave, the Duchess shows up to taunt you. telling you won't be able to leave, and you affirm your decisions thus far, telling them that the love they imagine isn't the love they actually want or need. We get it. It sucks. This triggers the Duchess and they say that no, we don't get it. They want dignity, restoration of their former glory. Our idea of love is the one that would reduce them to nothing, reduce them to something suboptimal, as if love needs to be optimized. They threaten us and say that they can do a plethora of things to us. Whether those are good or bad is up to us. Our dinner date will be very interesting. The Duchess ends the conversation by telling you that you have a unique opportunity to see the world beyond human boundaries. How chaotic it all is. They want to protect us, and in turn, we love them. It's simple, really. The Duchess then leaves, and so do we. In the room right after, you can find a mummified cat. Yes, you read that right. Taking it back to Mr. Shaking inside his coffin will cause him to become the happiest little shadow in the world. If you gave him all the 3 items he requested, he'll award you with the true reward. 101 yowzas. Hell yes. Ready for a new mechanic reminiscent of PS2 titles? Meet Spike Wall. It will chase you and it will kill you. You know how this works already, you've played video games before, so let's just move on. You then do another of Spike Wall section, but this time with a dog statue and a very devilishly placed crater. God, I hate you, Tom, or CB, whoever put that there. Then you do it for a 3rd time, no dog, but plenty of enemies in your way instead, and barricades. As we enter the next room, a gate closes behind us, and we see an echo of Gabriella yet again. Approaching it, we find her hovering another coffin, this time complaining how she had to do everything herself, how she was always in the contest with her own mother. She berates her old carcass body and kicks the coffin out of insecurity, before dumping the most valuable thing known to her mother with her. Her pearls. No more chokers suffocating Gabriella. You grab the necklace and yes, you guessed it, cockroach time. GG ease. If you thought that fight was easy, rest assured the next tight hallway section can give you a run for your money, with tanky Spider-Man enemies, lunging rats and more. After you finish with that section, you find yourself in the bottom of the crypt. Finally. Hey, is that? Yep. The eyesore is back. This time it tells us that we've bested it. No more tricks. Not capable of love, but it can't pretend it doesn't exist. That perhaps it's time to move on to the next step in its life. Even if that means giving up on its daily torture regimen. They ask us to strike it down one final time, and we oblige. We enter a huge darkened room with many statues encased and Robin in the middle. Yeah, something is going down here. We approach Robin and find them hurting bad. They're trying to get something to work. We come to their aid and tell them about Benedict and what he said about the possibility of Robin getting lost down here forever. Robin is steadfast in holding out and getting the key first before leaving. Robin then goes quiet and mentions that Gabrielle is down the pit and has the Duchess's key, hasting you to figure this contraption so they can finally set Benedict free. You place both items you got from Gabriella's parents in each dish, with their positioning not seeming to matter. With the items placed, the lift starts to ascend. And this is our substitute boss fight for the crypt level. We have to defend Robin from all the attacking demons. There'll be 5 waves with increasingly difficulty. It's best to save the Heartbreaker shots for either the Statue Knight or the Spider-Man Cleaver enemies. Once the lift reaches the top, it kills all the remaining enemies and you finally get to see Gabriella. Oh lordy, what that mouth do though? Gabriella smack talks us, asking us if we understand how hard she had to push herself to become like this, something of true value. Robin asks for the key, but Gabriella reveals she never cared for it. All she wanted was the 3rd eye, and now that she has what she needs, we can all fuck off. Here she reveals how much she gaslit herself into accepting her own demise, masquerading her loneliness and unlovable nature with a desire to be worthy. Worthy of what? Good question. She wants to be put on a pedestal, loved by everyone who sees her, not understanding that what she's after is admiration, not love. Robin says we have to use a Heartbreaker to kill Gabriella, as she won't give the key to us willingly. In a final attempt to make peace with Gabriella, Michelle tries to gently get the key from her, but she's too far gone. She's finally happy now. If she can't be treasured, she'd rather die. She asks if you've already made up your mind. And all your answers here lead to more or less the same conclusion, just with different nuances. I told her that she, despite all her flaws, deserved better. That she wasn't the problem. We get it. Now regaining control, Michelle, use your third eye to charge up your Heartbreaker and kill Gabriella once and for all. Remember me saying that this was a substitute boss fight? Well, that wasn't entirely true, as it turns out. In the same Reddit thread I keep mentioning, Tom from Alamode explains that originally one of the bosses had a second phase that wasn't working too well. The sequence was too long and too frustrating, and apparently the second phase of the boss didn't mesh well with the level or the mechanics of the game. Tom does mention that they still left the first part of the fight, aka when you defend Robin, and mentions that they still use the model for the second form in cutscenes where we speak with Gabriella. Really cool that they ended up leaving Gabriella's final form in the game, as it's glorious. Also, raw. Next question. We end Gabriella's torment, and we get the third and final eye that will allow us to challenge the Duchess. When we victory royale over Gabriella, she gives us the key to the Duchess's bedroom, and Robin asks you for it, as that's the relic they've been hunting for centuries. Robin falls to the ground, and before they can explain any further, Benedict arrives on the scene, going against protocol and leaving his post. Gate to the underworld be damned, my gender ambiguous partner is in a pickle, I must save them. Benedict is distraught at Robin's actions, and Robin asks you for the key once more. This is one of the biggest choices in the game. If you give the key to Robin, Benedict will give you his halo after you leave the crypt. One of the 3 items you need for the Lucy ending, and also the option we're gonna pick for this specific playthrough. Denying the key to Robin will instead have you hold on to it. And even though it makes you lose out on the Lucy ending, it does give you new interactions you otherwise wouldn't see. More on those later. No matter what you pick, Benedict hurries you and Robin out of there, and urges you to challenge the Duchess when you're ready, as you have all the tools you need to defeat them. If you've been helping Robin in every step of your playthrough, Benedict thanks you for being a cherished friend and prays for your success. You take the same lift that Gabriella was in, but as opposed to going down into hell, you go up into heaven. Or well, the hotel entrance, at least. Which is exactly where we find ourselves next. Let's pay our friendly neighbor Eyesore a visit. As we initiate dialogue, it says our ability to shape the world around us is a thing of wonder. He ponders if you'll finally be the one to fix the Duchess. Radical change is coming, and for the first time in decades, the Eyesore is excited. So excited that if we keep bothering it, we might become its new torturer. Hot. You can ask about challenging the Duchess, to which she will say that you're a pioneer, and that when you do it, you better be ready. Wretched woman. If you ask about defeating the Duchess, the Eyesore says that they know nothing. But your question goes beyond that. What happens to the Eyesore if we win? Does it go free? It certainly hopes not. Who would be doing the torture regime then? Speaking with the hotel staff, they tell us that we're late for our date with the Duchess, following by questioning if we're going to wear that for our Duchess dinner date. If you spoke to Stacy earlier in the day, you'll wear a black dress for the occasion. If not, you go punk rock style. Entering the hotel lobby, we find it very empty in comparison to previous days, and if we approach Daryl, he'll tell us that tonight is our last night of freedom. And since you're probably going to be joining the Duchess's eternal torture room, he'll see you forever. Also, Mimi's here. Hi Mimi. If you happen to visit the kitchen and didn't save Violet this far, you can talk to her and see that she's completely given up on baking normal cookies ever again. No one escapes the meat kitchen. Chef Armando is still happy though. He a man spider without a care in the world. We move to the theater room and... oh no. We approach Donovan, who's on stage, and he says it is indeed him. This was the gig he mentioned earlier. Shitty as hell, but good money. So he took it, even though he doesn't understand why he's getting paid so much considering the state of this place. It was here that something hit me. He doesn't have the third eye, meaning he doesn't see the lush, gold-plated hotel adorned with paintings we do in the demon world. He sees the decrepit, abandoned, and borderline unstable version of the hotel, alongside any other humans brought here like Daryl, who doesn't really seem to mind, and Violet. It gives the third eye mechanic another narrative layer that I really liked thinking about. Unique venues aside, we can't wait to hear Donovan play live for us, so we take a seat next to the Duchess, and he begins his performance.
What if I go? What if I stay? What is the toll? Wouldn't I fade? What if I'm late? Aren't I old?
beautifully sung by Devik Sol, is a song that perfectly describes the feeling of hopeless love, the feeling of drifting by life without a true purpose or meaning beyond vanity, constantly wondering about the choices, repercussions, and victims of his choices in life. A perfect juxtaposition for a journey as Michelle in Sorry We're Closed. The Duchess asks you if you're enjoying the concert, as they chose it for us, recognizing that Michelle has an admiration towards Donovan, but also showing their insecurities in the process. Perhaps they could enslave Donovan here to make Michelle happy, as we could torture him together. But obviously this is dumb, so we denied the Duchess's dreams. They say that out of all their victims, we're the most alluring, to which we respond that even though circumstances are quite weird, we like to make an effort. And the Duchess hopes we've accustomed to the hotel so far, as they've worked plenty to make it what it is today. Here you can say one of 3 options that will solidify your perspective on this overall relationship. None of these options impact the ending, but the answers to each are interesting in their own right. I told them I didn't plan on staying, of course, this is no secret, but it will take more than 3 third eyes to escape this place. Michelle would normally clap back at this remark, but she's learned better. The last stretch is the most painful one, but when the time is right, she'll be there. The Duchess doesn't understand the concept of the right time, so they ask you to strike now since we live in the moment. They say you have a confidence that they haven't seen before, something that none of their other darlings possessed. And I decided to respond that I can't be theirs. This causes Michelle to deny the Duchess's fantasy, as it's everything Michelle didn't want in a relationship, but the Duchess doesn't see it. They ask if they're difficult to love, and we finally tell the Duchess that what they're seeking isn't love, it's obsession, ownership. You don't say the last part, but you know, that's what it is. The Duchess cuts the conversation short, and I chose to agree that we're done with this date. The next time we meet, we'll be reclaiming our freedom. This irritates the Duchess, but Michelle stands strong and officially challenges the Duchess. At first, the Duchess is completely taken aback by our actions, but a demon must always accept the challenge. The Duchess says we're over our head, but decides to hear our terms. If we can make the Duchess beg for mercy, they'll remove this curse. Challenge accepted. The Duchess promises you that this will end on your knees permanently, which, oh god, don't make me imagine that. They open the door to our room and tells us to enjoy our final night here. As you return to your room, you find that all the items you didn't deliver were just lost, and this isn't your room at all. Back where it all started, the Dream Eater Palace. This is the last fourth of the game. Any and all collectibles you needed to deliver had to be done so before you enter here. That's neither here nor there. We have to find a way out of here now. Rest in peace, Dress. It was nice while it lasted. Using your third eye will reveal that the opposite reality to the underworld is void. Nothing. Kinda scary. We enter the first palace room and find Dream Eater pointing a sword at none other than Chamuel. Well, things just got interesting. Here we find out that Chamuel's secret demon boyfriend is none other than Dream Eater himself. They argue back and forth, with Chamuel questioning Dream Eater's methods of protecting them, with the Eater saying that they currently have a system that allows both of them to be alive and do their duty without anyone getting hurt. Chamuel affirms that change isn't as scary as it seems, and that it's both their choice to make. Chamuel has made his change alongside Dream Eater, rather than to be left behind in perpetuity. He believes they were made to be together, not hidden away in opposite realities from each other. Michelle enters the room, and before we can say anything, the Eater decapitates his boyfriend in a swift motion, saying, "Witness, Michelle, and nature you do not understand." This goes so hard, what the fuck, bro? Then he slices Chamuel again. He asks us if we're prepared to rot for eternity, but little does he know, we've been preparing for this. We kick off the first of several fights against the Dream Eater, and a new mechanic is also introduced. The area left by Chamuel's body will instantly give you a Heartbreaker charge if you stand in it long enough, bypassing the whole process entirely and giving you the OP shot instantly. Why is this important? Well, let's just say that the Dream Eater is built different. You shoot his heart, causing him to berate you. You tell him that he's being an idiot and that Chamuel is right, that the Eater is the one ruining their relationship, and to get his bird head out of his human ass. The Eater then turns to his form and gives you yet another threat. He will make sure you don't leave this palace alive. Enter the library, just like the beginning of the game, and yes, just like the beginning, the Eater will chase you down these halls. This time, you cannot get caught, otherwise it's actually game over. This ain't the tutorial no more. You make it to the main library room and block the door so the Eater won't get in. Just as Michelle starts freaking out about the entire situation, our dear friend Chamuel makes a reappearance. He explains that he's worried for us that Dream Eater is very unpredictable right now. We ask the obvious question, how the hell is he alive right now? For he answers he tells you to back away from the door and that, yes, it hurts every time he dies, but sometimes pain is worth enduring and that the source comes from the people themselves and not their actions. He has accepted that to be with the one he loves will result in making him lesser than what he is, and that's okay. Being an angel is useless if you can't be happy. Chamuel believes he is now on the correct path, and that now he sees the Great Divide as an event to allow change and growth, not separation of good and evil. Dying over and over again is meaningless, because all he needs is one sentence to get through to the Eater for him to... Oh yeah, about that door. Second fight with the Eater begins, and this time it's a bit more involved. He will chase you around the library trying to kill you, and your job is to go around, charge your Heartbreaker using the dead corpses of Chamuel, and destroy all 3 Eater hearts. Remember the book that he wouldn't let us read at the beginning of the game? If you read it now, you will see that it's Dream Eater's personal diary, where he writes about his anguish, how he feels guilty for loving someone he is actively ruining, with Chamuel getting worse and worse every time they get closer. The Eater finds change terrifying. He's afraid of potentially never having love again, and prefers to execute Chamuel over and over again than to see him become corrupted, just like he is. Now realizing that he isn't corrupt, he's simply changed. If you mess up this section, there's also a really cool and unique death scene for Michelle, where the Eater strikes you down in a stylish pink background void, saying you'll never interfere again. God, this game is good, bro. We destroy the last heart and the Eater starts crashing out, telling us to stop, that he's doing this for Chamuel, and we're ruining everything. We try to make him realize that this isn't the way to do things, but he won't accept that, and buggers off. Soon after, you'll come inside a quaint little room where you can see a lot of the items you collected so far in your journey. There's a banquet room with a wingless Chamuel on the table. The implications are very grotesque. Soon after, you find the real Chamuel and he gives you some much needed backstory on him and the Eater. You see, before the Great Divide they were both angels and lived peacefully together. But once the Great Change happened, they found differences in each other and felt forced to pick a side in the division. No more angelic harmony. But that's when Chamuel started feeling something new for the first time. The Eater was changing, and he liked it. He saw growth. That before the divide, the Eater wasn't nearly as interesting. Chamuel now realizes the concept of us started making a lot more sense after the Great Divide. This could be an allegory for couples who take breaks or fully separate only to get back together soon and remain together. They take what they have for granted or simply don't realize the value of us. And that's exactly what Chamuel wants. Him and the Eater together. Nothing more, nothing less. Ask him if the Eater will listen to Chamuel this time. He says that if he doesn't, he'll remain on a path of self-destruction. He has no choice anymore. In this room, you can also find a painting of Dream Eater before the divide. What a hunk. Before you proceed, Chamuel asks if you're truly ready, and if you say yes, you better be prepared for the insane last hour of Sorry We're Closed. Things are going to get wild. You move forward and find yourself in another top-down library chase hallway, but curiously enough, the Eater isn't chasing you. You can find ammo and water in a little corner, and as you keep going... Oh fuck, he's huge now, big bird, big bird, big bird. You manage to escape and go inside this weird connection room with a bunch of dead Chamuels and a door to the underworld. And here we find the Underworld Chapel. This incredibly sinister yet alluring room is one of my favorites in the entire game, especially given what happens. We approach the Eater, and for once he compliments you. A human shouldn't be able to make it this far. Yet, here we are. If you missed any collectibles, he asks you if you lost something on the way here, which is hilarious. He explains that he had a vision of his future once, an intrusive thought that he couldn't escape, and the only thing he could find himself doing is protecting the ones he loves. Like all other disgraced, he tried to find sacred knowledge and failed. Now he's relegated to being this. He affirms that he knows we feel we're doing the right thing, and that he knew of us before we were even an atom, and that there was a point where he wouldn't even dare resist this path you're carving out for him. But right now, he's too hurt from seeing Chamuel decay and decides to defy your choices, blaming you for something of his own creation. In the best transition this entire game has, you see the Chamuel statues fall into the abyss, blood rises from below, and one of the best soundtracks of this game kicks in. Eater has been waiting for this. This is it. The story we're closed moment. The setup, the fight itself, the creativity, the vibes, the music. This shit fucking bangs!
I'm not the victim, I am the system. I'm not in the wrong with my infinite wisdom. Follow my words even if I contradict them. It's my house, Michelle, I'll be the one to evict them.
The strat is the same as the previous Eater fights. Charge your Heartbreaker with either the enemies that spawn or by using the falling Chamuel corpses. Yes, even while fighting you, the Eater is throwing his dead boyfriend's corpse as a weapon. What a Chad. As you fire the last Heartbreaker shot, the Eater finally relents and decides to try to strike you with his blade of cherub in a desperate final attempt to stop you. Before he does, Chamuel stops him again. And here Chamuel tries to get through to his boyfriend. He identifies that the Eater is fighting a non-existent problem. They knew that staying together would cause them pain from the get-go. And that now after all this, Chamuel barely has any connection to the Divine anymore, telling the Eater that if he were to be struck down once more, he would cease to exist. The Eater says that turning is a horrible, painful experience. Chamuel says that he doesn't understand that yet, but he will soon. He's made his choice a long time ago, and thanks Michelle for realizing what Chamuel and Dream Eater needed in a few days, something that they were trying to figure out for literally centuries. Chamuel admits that he's a bit jealous of our tenacity and willingness to accept what comes our way, and that he hopes someday you'll find someone to dump all that love you're carrying into. With that, the Eater leaves with Chamuel and gives you a door to progress through. It's worth noting that there are alternate conversations for this entire section if you're doing the Lucy ending. I've been purposely avoiding showing certain interactions and scenes because I want you, my dear viewer, to support and play this game for yourself. Find out the underworld door leads you back to the church where Robin and Benedict happen to be. They're surprised at your entrance as you were literally on the verge of being locked in the underworld as they were about to use their relic key. After explaining what happened and questioning how these teleporting doors even work, Benedict bestows some door wisdom, saying that doors have their own properties that link between different worlds. And that's why humans often forget what they were doing whenever they walk through one. Mind blown. Holy crap, Benedict! You tell Robin and Benedict that you helped Chamuel find love, and that after seeing them in this awful cycle, you're set in finding a resolution. If Robin, Dream Eater, Chamuel can all find love through all these hardships, then the Duchess surely can too. Benedict says that there are many roads we could have taken, and he could never figure out which one we'd end up picking. But this one isn't so bad. The entrance to the other world is now locked, and Benedict gets to finally leave his post. As appreciation for your help, he gives you his halo, the final item you need for the Lucy ending. So far, if you've helped Oakley and Daryl, gave Robin the key to the crypt, as well as gave Chamuel's letter to Beloved, you will have all the 3 items you need for the Lucy ending. Robin is happy for both Benedict and our progress so far, and says that we should celebrate a bit. Benedict says that he still needs to confirm the key works at all, and we have a challenge with the Duchess waiting for us. And he follows that up with advising us to get some much needed rest before we journey into the hotel. We agree, and Robin tells us that they'll meet us there too. If you've helped Chamuel get back with his boyfriend, you can find Beloved in the church, grieving the loss of Chamuel's angelic status, saying he succumbed to his weakness and trivial notions of love. Fuck you, Beloved. Back in town, you can find the disgruntled demon once more, who tells you that they're waiting for the Duchess to fall. And once they do, it will be their time to shine. In your apartment, you find Robin waiting for you, who tells you that even though you're not out of the woods yet, you too deserve to relax a bit and invites you for drinks on the roof. You can completely ignore that and sleep in your room immediately, but we're the good boy at this playthrough, so we're gonna go talk to them. Robin asks you if you'll miss the demon world, and you're not sure. On one hand, it's new and interesting. On the other, fighting for your life is kind of exhausting. Robin says that they would feel like they'd lost something. Being a part of an entire mythos, even for a brief moment, changes you, even if it's all gone suddenly. Robin is free with Benedict now that they got the relic. That's what they've been chasing this whole time, right? You ask if Robin will miss being a demon, and they say, nah. Losing their demon status but gaining Benedict's freedom is a fine deal in their eyes. Loss will be felt for sure, but what they get in return is so much more. They ask you about your date with the Duchess, and you respond it went as expected, and that you can't wait to GTFO out of this world. You ask Robin if you're gonna forget everything that happened when all this is over. You won't, but over time you'll start wondering if it was even real to begin with, like a temporary fever dream. Maybe one day you'll think this is all a story your brain created in an effort to kill time. Nah, JK, you can't forget something like this. We survived our breakup with Leslie, we went through all this trouble, we'll be just fine. Robin then remembers that they still owe you if you help them in your playthrough, that is, and tells you that they'll help you, no matter what. We have a hell of a day waiting for us tomorrow. You fall asleep to find that you're inside dying petals now, with Leslie's body displayed on the floor. Remember that whole talk with Benedict about doors leading you somewhere? This is it. Depending on your choices, you can now choose which ending door you want to go for, with the associated character being in front of said door. Leslie's body only shows up here if you didn't do the Lucy deal justice, which is a nice little detail. No matter which door you pick, however, you will always go through the same final level that culminates in a fight with the Duchess. And then we get to explore the town one final time to see how everyone's stories wrap up. Let's start with the most common ending, Robin. Talking to them here, they mention that you've taught them that being a human is actually something special, and that they can't wait until things are back to normal. Break the curse? Yes. We enter the hotel once more. This time will be the last. We are quickly approached by the Duchess, who is now wearing what I believe to be their angelic garments, laying in their bed. But they say they're feeling generous and ask you if you have any questions before we surrender ourselves to them. You ask them if they used to be an angel before. The Duchess wonders if they say yes, would that change how we feel about them? The Duchess can be whatever we want them to be, whatever it takes for them to be embraced by us. If you ask who their previous lover was, the response is God. That's it. We're competing with God himself here. What?
What, are we gonna fight the sun?
In one of my favorite subtle moments when you try to leave dialogue with the Duchess, they tell you they're not done and the camera changes perspectives, with you now asking Michelle questions as the Duchess. God, I love it. Asking her how she'll defeat us. She affirms we're weaker now. You can also ask Michelle where she got her banging outfit. Street market, she says. Ah, a thrifting enthusiast, I see. Very good. Goodbye. That's enough shit chatting for now. The Duchess snaps her fingers and we begin the final dungeon of Sorry We're Closed. In the usual lobby door, you find an echo of Michelle, and as you interact with it, you wonder if this is how the Duchess sees you. A simple human, just trying to get by in a world beyond our understanding. Entering the hotel lobby and going down the stairs, the Duchess shows up in their usual demon form, saying we fascinate them, but if we don't submit now, they'll kill us. This begins another set of fights similar to Dream Eater, but the biggest difference here that there are no Chamuel bodies raining from the sky, and the Duchess can use their own third eye to stun and kill you, which is terrifying. So you have to overlap your eye's radius with the Duchess's in order to charge the Heartbreaker by shooting the Duchess's many hearts. I got the Duchess in a very unfortunate position as I fired my second and last Heartbreaker shot. The Duchess falls and says it hurts, before disappearing and unlocking the locked door we've been seeing since our very first arrival in the hotel. Going through, we find a new path with an elevator and another Michelle echo at the entrance. You wonder where you're going, you realize it isn't safe, but there's no other choice, and you take the lift up. You arrive at the top of the hotel. Similarly to the dog statues from the crypt, you have to lead your echo to safety by the use of your third eye. They're essentially mirror puzzles, but with extra steps. After you're done, you find the Duchess once more, who says that appearances can be deceiving, and that this could have been a lot simpler if we had just obeyed them. Alas, we like being our own person. But the Duchess's idea of love doesn't captivate us anymore. It's time for them to move on. They say we need to solve some personal issues first, which, okay, hypocrite. Then they leave. At the top, you find a new enemy, Bomber Michelle's. Yes, actually. These are all alternate versions of Michelle who ended up succumbing to the Duchess's curse, now eternally roaming the hotel halls as servants. This section can be quite tricky as the bombshells can and will come at you from many directions all at once. Finding good angles to kill them before they get to you is honestly the best way to deal with them here. In the next room, the game throws you yet another twist on the third eye mechanic, now having to do the inverse to find your way through an area that can't be seen through normal human eyes. You then bring your clone to the correct spot and proceed through. Complete another mirror puzzle by bringing the statue into the flame first before unlocking the door with your clone, and we enter one of the coolest hallways in the game, with the entire background being a void and a giant bloodied horse statue on display. Duchess then reveals themselves and tells you that they need you to understand just how truly screwed you are. They're allowing us in here, as we're the only ones who have infiltrated their mind as deep as we have. Not even heaven could compare. Then they say that we could have been the perfect vessel at one point. Remember this. They say they'll remove the curse once they're bored of us, but for now, They want our entertainment. We enter the next room and I bet you won't believe what happens here. It's the Duchess. Again. No talking this time, just lunges at you with their chainsaw and an extra statue, subtly telling you, the player, that they're not sure they can stop you anymore. I quickly shoot the Duchess's 2 Heartbreaker hearts and they fall once more. Embarrassingly, they start to admit they're starting to like this. Michelle is actually fighting back. We then move to this beautiful walkway that leads to another lift. If you've noticed the heart on the horse, then good, cause I didn't and I done goofed here. Shooting the horse's heart will unlock the lift, take the lift up, and you find yourself at the very top of the hotel. This is a hotel palace. And given how high up it is, it leads me to believe that the Duchess once tried to find a way back to Heaven's Graces through their hotel and failed. You go through a mirror puzzle, a spike maze with bombshells, and yet another mirror puzzle, only to find yourself on the path with a door containing the same arms as the one blocking the door in the hotel. Michelle here calls out the Duchess's bluff, saying that she'll kill as many puppets as she needs. The Duchess then reveals their truest form. A giant angel piercing the skies. They agree with us, telling us that they want us to hurt their real body this time, smashing the puppet in front of Michelle and taunting her one last time before vanishing. This is the last spike hallway in the game and it can be a tricky one. The enemies attack you at the same time the spike wall activates, and this one has 3 hearts. I found that the best way to get through this one was to literally just use the angel feathers from the enemies as often as I could, all while running back and making space. You make your way to the final elevator in the hotel and ascend. We find ourselves on top of a halo, surrounded by submerged, heartless horses. The Duchess compliments you and asks you if your will is strong enough to break their determination. Only one way to find out. This is it. Final battle with the Duchess. And lordy, what a treat. By far the most intricate, best designed, and most satisfying fight in the game. You'll have to use every single mechanic the game taught you so far to beat the Duchess. Destroying barricades, stunning enemies, using your eye to find a path forward, charging your Heartbreaker, comboing each of the Duchess's arms to bring them down and reduce the amount of attacks they're able to do. Just great stuff here. All accompanied by an awesome track that perfectly capitalizes on the badass yet melancholic fight that was destined to happen between Michelle and the Duchess. As you take the final shot, the Duchess succumbs. We transition to a decrepit building, with the Duchess saying that we're unlike anyone else they've ever met, and that it's a shame we just now entered their life. They realize they're losing us, and that they will forget about us soon. Their angelic powers are running out. They wish things could be different, but this is it. The Duchess wants to be remembered as they would have liked to be seen. Something that is worth remembering, something worth loving. With a snap of their fingers, the curse breaks. Bet you weren't expecting that one, were you? I certainly wasn't. This is the epilogue of Sorry We're Closed, with you being able to explore the town for the final time. This is where all the culmination of your choices will be shown to you through the characters you could talk to. For now, let's continue exploring Robin's ending. You first find your store manager, who informs you that you've been rehired and that hopefully you won't waste any more time wandering the street talking to your weird little friends. Spoiler alert, we totally will. Stepping outside your apartment, you find Clarissa, who is moving on to greener pastures. She says that she'll miss us, but she won't miss this city. Talking to Oakley and Daryl nearby will reveal that they are still trying to work it out. Daryl is late once again with his shipment, and this is basically the neutral ending for their relationship. You can then find Robin, Benedict, and Marty all talking outside Culture Shock. Marty busting Robin's metaphorical bowels over them being a demon or not. Benedict defends them, saying that their theory doesn't add up. Robin, of course, also denies this, and this interaction is extra funny since now Robin and Benedict are actually human and have no way to properly explain to Marty everything that happened in the past couple weeks. Robin asks how you're doing, saying that your forehead cut is healing nicely. They bust your metaphorical balls and are glad you're back in full shape and got your old job back. Benedict thanks you for everything you did for them, and Marty gets really suspicious of him. If you talk to the human postman, he'll tell you that the chill has returned, but since we lost our third eye, we cannot see Creed behind them anymore. The postman then wonders if they'll ever escape the chill. They won't. Near Violet's bakery, you can find a very familiar looking man who says the same to Michelle. You decide to tell human Chamuel that they've never met before, but he's not so sure. He mentions a girl with a cut on her forehead, but he doesn't think that's you. You ask if they're new, and they mention they're just visiting, with Chamuel saying that he feels a sense of deja vu by being here. If you ask them how they met, he'll tell you that they've known each other for a long time, and a friend convinced them to finally take the plunge and be together. Now, they're happy. Chamuel then tries to question you once more, but you decide to cut it short and head off. This entire conversation is only possible if you help Chamuel get back together with the Dream Eater. You can also get Violet to return to her stand if you got all the items for Chef Armando. With all characters accounted for, you head into work. Roll credits. Before I conclude this essay, let's go back into the Dying Petals room and talk about each of the endings. Robin's ending, like I mentioned previously, will always be available to you, with the key choices being able to tell them that you'll help them on the way to the aquarium and then giving them the key at the end of the crypt. Giving Robin the key will guarantee you a happy ending for both Robin and Benedict, but won't allow you to enter the Duchess's bedroom and see some very hidden collectibles. Robin as a character represents love as liberation. They show unconditional support even if you go against them at every point. Their relationship with the Angel Benedict is a literary trope called star-crossed lovers, forbidden thanks to their cosmic origins. Robin's journey focuses on freeing Benedict from his duty of guarding a gate to the underworld, with Michelle enabling that and their human transformation if she chooses to give the relic. This to me shows that love is more powerful than Celestials, as it can transcend these divine boundaries between Robin and Benedict, turning them both human and giving them their happy ending. Robin and the Duchess contrast quite heavily, as Robin's arc highlights trust and mutual aid, meanwhile the Duchess is straight possession. If you speak to Clarissa at her ending door, she tells you that you're moving your way up the ladder and have a newfound sense of purpose, and that your work will balance the scales. Before you join the Duchess's empire, Clarissa asks you for a new nickname, and you can pick Her Royal Deadness, something Daryl called you in an effort to make you feel bad. In this ending, after beating the Duchess, they say that you're worth keeping, that all this time the Duchess saw you as a potential lover, but you showed up differently. In this ending, Michelle becomes something more sinister, and the Duchess wants to use that. In a great twist, Michelle realizes that she's stronger than the Duchess, and tells them to call her Her Royal Deadness. The Duchess relents, and retorts that even if Michelle isn't their darling anymore, they still belong to them, just in another, more useful way. We wanted a job, and we earned it. Back at the town, you can see Clarissa kicking Daryl out of his own bar, as she's now taking ownership of it. As Daryl begs you for help, you decide to instead give him a taste of his own medicine and ask Cerberus to take him to the kitchen. If you talk to Robin and Marty in this ending, you just flex your newfound power and status, to the dismay of Robin and awkwardness of Marty, even telling Robin to address you as her royal deadness as well. As you return to work, you see a hidden Dying Petals scene with Epiphany dead on the floor and Canary wallowing. When you come in and interrupt the episode, we find out that you're the customer at the store now, complaining to the poor cashier about your troubled love life. The working girl is puzzled at your remarks and apologizes. But you step over all of that and complain about that time your girl left you, mirroring Daryl almost word for word at the beginning of the game, showing that Michelle is nothing but another cog in the hotel machine. Clarissa's character represents love as a simple transaction. She's an angel posing as a dancer. She uses love as a tool to obtain more power, and her inquired questline is about dismantling Daryl and Oakley's relationship. Alta usurped Daryl's position under the Duchess by sabotaging Daryl, aka telling him to take Mimi to Oakley immediately and photographing the meat and showing that to Oakley, caused Daryl to fall out of favor and Clarissa to take over the bar, Michelle replacing Daryl as the Duchess's right-hand man, even adopting his personality to a certain extent. Clarissa's ambitions of power and status mirrors the Duchess in an interesting way, as both are corrupted by selfish desires that manifested out of a longing for love, but for very different reasons. Going back to the ending doors, if you've done Lucy's requests, you'll notice that Leslie isn't dead on the floor anymore, instead being replaced by her wife in the show Canary. Speaking to Lucy, they will tell you that you're a good girl and that you're almost ready for your reward. She comments on how obedient you are and how desirable that is, which will make this all much easier. Lucy then mentions they'll ask the following question one time, and they want our answer to be true. We accept Lucy's terms. After defeating the Duchess, it's revealed that Lucy is also present now, with them saying, Michelle, that's a name that will take a while for me to get used to. Not a bad name, and not a bad body. The Duchess realizes what's going on and crashes out, with Lucy affirming that they were planning this all along. The Duchess tries attacking Lucy, but is held back due to them knowing the Duchess's true name. Lucy then proceeds to store the Duchess somewhere safe and dispose of the real Lucy, the previous vessel they were inhabiting. You ask Lucy what the fuck is going on, that you held up your end of the bargain, and Lucy reveals that it would be no fun if everyone told the truth all the time. Lucy then proceeds to pull a Smile Demon cosplay and forces themselves inside Michelle. Speaking to Clarissa outside your apartment, she comments on how she can't do anything for you now, that you truly done goofed, and that she's out of here. She'll miss the old you before your terrible decision. Oakley and Daryl are getting ready to go on their honeymoon, with Daryl even escaping the Duchess's grasp. Oakley thanks you, and Daryl is mega happy that his family is together and getting their happy finale. Daryl, Oakley, and Mimi. What a trio. Robin and Benedict are also here, with them calling out your name, and you responding with silence. Robin said they warned you, with Benedict telling them not to be so hard on us. We're already paying for our mistakes. Marty then realizes you can't talk anymore and says this has to be the work of demons. Robin also tells you that they'd always want to be your friend, but her choices have made that quite difficult. If you save Violet, she'll tell you that she's starting to miss the hotel kitchen. Maybe we shouldn't have helped her after all. At work, you can watch another episode of Dying Petals, where Epiphany confronts Canary on how great their relationship could have been if they had just talked about anything at all. Canary doesn't respond, and suddenly Epiphany starts calling for Michelle, and it's revealed that Leslie is at our store. She came to visit us, but we say nothing. She comments on how we look the same. She understands that her showing up is sudden, but was hoping you two could talk things through. Since Michelle doesn't respond, Leslie gives up and tells Michelle she's moving to the US. She tried coming here looking for a reason to stay, but didn't find it. She then leaves, leaving Michelle to take care of herself. Lucy is a very interesting character because they represent love as betrayal. From the beginning, Lucy has always been a mystery, with their ending require you to be locked out of everyone else's, other than Robin's, in order to access it. And at the end you find out this was all a ploy to have Michelle be Lucy's next vessel, where Michelle gets reduced to a hollow husk, trapped in a cycle of unresolved grief. Lucy's ending highlights the potential destruction that love can bring. Their betrayal reflects how love can be weaponized, resulting in an increase in isolation rather than healing. Lucy is literally a two-headed demon where one half is constantly glued to a screen, doom scrolling mouth-washing edits on TikTok or some shit. So there were plenty of red flags from the get-go. Who Lucy is never revealed, but everyone we meet, angel or demon, knows who they are. They all warn you about them. And it seems in hindsight that Lucy might be the only other entity present that can actually challenge the Duchess at their prime. Lucy, the human, never speaks a single word, showcasing a very usual compliance in a toxic relationship, with the demonic half taking the lead and doing everything for both. And all of this to say that I think Lucy is Lucifer. Just straight up, that's it. I got no other proof. You're welcome to theorize in the comments. Please discuss. Dude, holy shit. Silver-tongued, two-faced, demon. Everybody, angel and demon, knows who they are. Probably has to be Satan. It's Satan. We now make it to the last and what is my favorite ending thematically for this game. Speaking to Chamuel at his ending door, he's thankful for everything you did for him and the Dream Eater, stopping their endless struggle that has been hinted at since the beginning of the game. He was so scared of how love would change him that he almost forgot that is what he wanted in the first place. He tells us one last goodbye and asks us if we're ready to take that leap. We say yes. Grab the Duchess by that fucking crown and drag them out of misery, kicking and screaming. After defeating the Duchess, they say it's a shame that you won't be in their life anymore, and this causes Michelle to ask why. We're right here. The Duchess mentions how you're getting your freedom, but Michelle says that yes, that's what she wants, but now it's more than that. She wants to stay with the Duchess, which is impossible. We've chased them to the ends of the ether. If that is what love feels like, it's exhausting. The Duchess then starts understanding human nature more, realizing that love uses us up, and that eventually it runs out, making humans die. After so many eons, the Duchess has been dried up in a matter of days, all thanks to Michelle. Michelle becomes distraught at the fact that the Duchess proclaimed their love for her only to leave, but they already got what they wanted. The finale here is the same for everyone, except when you enter your shop, you get this extra scene that ties everything together for me. We start with an alternate Dying Petals episode where Canary is agreeing for them to move on. A customer comes in, but we're too invested in the show to notice, when suddenly, we apologize. The customer says they're obsessed with the show too, so they understand. We give them their total and they mention on how they haven't seen the latest episode yet, but that it was fairly predictable anyways. The Duchess is then revealed, in human form now, and Michelle is taken aback. We can't help but ask if they remember anything, but they don't think so. They just moved in, but mention they wouldn't forget a face like ours. Michelle panics, and the stranger compliments our awkwardness, calling us cute. They ask our name, and we say Michelle. They like that name a lot. And just as we're finally going to learn this alluring stranger's name, cut to credits. A fallen angel turned archdemon, the Duchess now seeks human love to fill the void left by divine abandonment. Their biggest flaw is misunderstanding love as possession, leading to cycles of exploitation for all their victims, including Michelle. In Chamuel's ending, the Duchess becomes human after receiving genuine affection from Michelle, symbolizing love's capability to transcend cosmic beings in a good way. Michelle's entire journey is a mirror of the Duchess, with the biggest difference being on how they culminate. Michelle starts at her lowest, still coming to terms that Leslie left her, and through interactions with Robin, Chamuel, Daryl, and others, evolves into a much more emotionally mature person than before. If you go for the Robin ending, Michelle reclaims autonomy by rejecting the Duchess's toxicity and effectively breaking the curse. If you succumb to Lucy's sweet offering, Michelle instead goes right back to the beginning of her journey, arguably worse, as now she's stuck in grief, unable to move past Leslie. If you go for the Clarissa ending, Michelle instead replaces love with self-worth, becoming just a cog in a machine created by the Duchess. The Duchess's obsession is a direct contrast to Michelle's self-discovery, with Michelle's choices determining the fate of their love. And just like real life, love isn't inherently good or evil. It's a tool, a feeling, an act that can be used for growth or for destruction. After being asked to confront my own obsessions, my own fears of change, and the messy, hard truth that love isn't about fixing someone, but instead growing alongside them, I have to reinforce how Sorry We're Closed isn't just a game. It's a deconstruction of a feeling we all possess and struggle to understand. It's a carefully crafted, intimate journey about change, about how the smallest of actions can have the most cosmic consequences. It's a game that I think about constantly, with characters that are extremely complex, likable, and best of all, deserving of being included in such a personal narrative. The game's style, combat, and overly queer nature might not be for everyone, and that's okay. But if you can see past the surface and find it in yourself to forget about agendas for one single game, this is the one. None of the scenes feel forced, shoved in, or unnecessary. All the characters' relationships are believable and make sense, and as a pansexual guy myself, a part of me felt seen by this game, being able to draw parallels between the journey these characters go on with my own personal journey of self-discovery. For those of you who want a well-written game that's highly replayable and tackles sexuality, love, possession, and everything in between, there's very little that can compete with Sorry We're Closed. I have not shown various interactions and optional dialogues in this video, so if you truly want to see everything this game has to offer, pick it up on Steam and support A La Mode Games. This is their debut title, and as a player and developer myself, I'm beyond proud of how much Tom and CB were able to accomplish for this game. I only hope to see more from you two very soon. But what about you, dear viewer? Have you played Sorry We're Closed? Which ending did you go for? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and lastly, thank you so much for watching. This video was a ton of work, so I'd appreciate any support you can give me, either via liking or sharing this video, or throwing a buck at my new Patreon page, where you get physical goodies each month. Help me fund future videos and guarantee my livelihood. Literally. I'm really happy with the end result here, and I only hope I've done Sorry We're Closed justice. For now, that's it from me. My name's Fire, and I shall see you next time.